I ain't gonna say that. No, I ain't gonna dog you. I'll just
You
make
should
fun of you.
though. I deserve it. Now I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, why
But you know what?
not?
This
I'm
is a
like
good
the
challenge for
main
me. This is a good challenge. Now I got to go back and
everybody
I got to
else.
combine both videos and then load both videos up to YouTube.
Yeah, everybody else be scared of you and shit. I'm not me. Nah,
We're
I ain't.
live
No.
now again, so go right ahead and re-expose me because I'm a clown.
All right, all right. Excuse me. All right. Hey, welcome back to the stage select. You know where we either pick what we talking about or it's gonna be random. Right now, we ain't even sure. So what Josh did was do a classic right here. We call that he messed up, and now we back. So hopefully you remember where we left off at. But you can thank Josh for that. Your lovely and beautiful co-host or host, whatever he is. I don't know. All right, go ahead.
So just yes, Quell is right. I hard failed on that one. So as y'all saw before, we suddenly lost feed, or I should probably say me because I think I was the only person in the chat. So it is what it is. I don't give a shit. I had my feet up.
Hey,
I had my feet up. You know what? I'm gonna be a little embarrassed. So we just now I say we just moved in. We've been in here for almost a month. So don't judge me. I have a lot of stuff to take care of. But
judge him.
so my setup is right here under my dining room table. I had
Ah.
my feet like this. I was posted up chilling. I was trying to avoid that fan back there, so I was keeping it up towards the front. But up towards the front are the sleep and you can't really see them, but here's sleep, power, reset, and my dumbass hit
Ah.
reset. So
There you go.
that is on me, and yes, I am wearing a bathrobe because I'm in my own house. I can do that,
There you
Hey,
go.
grown
That's what
man.
I call
Grown
being
man
grown.
attire.
right?
Yeah, you paid a bill
My
recently.
phone is messed up. Oh, sorry, guys.
I'm gonna make
All right.
that. I'm gonna
So
make that
listen.
an emote whenever I get what is it? Twitch verified? No, that's Twitter. Twitch barrier. What is barrier? Verified. Twitch verified. Why did I say barrier? What the hell does barrier have to do with any of this? Oh,
You're just always
I'm
being defensive fighting game.
I'm gonna have dementia in my 50s. I can already tell, but it's gonna make me so much better at playing Gigas and Marduk. It's gonna be great. No one can guess what throw I'm gonna do. Like I have,
You don't
yeah. It's like what throw did you? I don't even know, young man.
even.
I'm sorry. So, but we were talking about before I so rudely leg dropped my tower like Hulk Hogan in the '80s versus any type of you know z foreign invader. Um, Ahmed was telling us about the weird scene, aka Sean person had gone to get. And by the way, Sean, if that's not your name, I'm pretty sure it's Sean too. By the way, I'm almost positive it's Sean Sean. And so if he comes back and he's like, actually, it's Thomas, I'm gonna be like, was it Thomas then? No, it was Sean. I legally changed it to Thomas 3 years ago. See, I told you.
It's Sean now.
It's Sean
He's
now.
Sean.
Thank you,
No.
Quell. Forever now, Sean, with
Yep.
the EA.
No, listen. No, actually, Ahmed was talking about his revelation of
Oh, the
Sean showing
pad,
him
the
that you can
PS1
plug up
pad.
controllers into the arcade cabinets, and he went back and told his people about it, and then it was like a week later, and then that's it.
I
Yeah, and
got
I was getting ready to say how I met Josh.
so real quick for
Yeah,
those that
buddy.
aren't aware, during Tekken 5, as Ahmed was saying, like there's you can kind of go through each Tekken in its own right is kind of revolutionary, but there are a few others that, especially to the modern day audience, really stand out. Like Tekken, Tekken 1 being the first Tekken is the first Tekken. Tekken 2, there are things in Tekken 2 that like little things like Armor King being forever stupid and Bruce being dumb in Tekken 2. You don't believe me? Go download. Go. I'm sorry, not download. Go acquire legally versions
There
of the
you go.
game and
Tekken 2, you got a little bit of the sidestep game too, a little bit
Yep.
at that,
And then Tekken 3
and
came out,
polygon count.
and Tekken 3 was like the first like really big version of Tekken. Like Tekken was the first one, then Tekken 2 came out. Okay, we got a sequel. And Tekken 3 really that's when they first introduced Eddie Gordo. So that's when like
No,
a lot of casuals really started to find out about it.
or just the polygon count and like the graphics at the time.
Ooh,
Revolution
yeah.
Arcade, it was a hit because that was when the time where people were moving away from 2D and everyone was obsessed with 3D, and so they were actually like ahead of the curve. Think of it. I think of Tekken 3 for Tekken series, like what Street Fighter 2 did for the sprites. Like people were making, trying to make little games, a fighting game, and Street Fighter 2, you're like, what are these sprites? What is this? These huge, and and then Tekken 3 came out. It's like, what is this 3D models? They were so pretty. Like, and the animation's still really good. Like, you look at it, like it's like for its time, 1994 or something, like low, like early. I know it was before. I think it was before 96. It was like 94, 95.
You know what? I'm
Pretty.
going to apologize to the stream because they're going to see my mouse flying across the screen. But that's okay because I can live fact check right now. So we're looking
But why are you
three.
just going back to the story? So the next week, I come to the arcade
97, by
and
the way, was
97.
initial,
Wow,
that was the initial release. Yep, 97. March 97 was arcades. PlayStation was in 98.
I'm way off. What am I thinking? 94 then? Well, I wonder was any Tekken in 94? I wonder why I have that number.
That actually sounds. I think that might be the first one. I think you're right. I want to say that the initial Tekken was
Tekken 1 was 94. Tekken 2 was 95.
Yes, sir. You are absolutely right. Tekken was originally released in arcades in December of '94.
Okay, so that's what I was. I was
You are absolutely right.
I just got here, son.
Quell. Look at me, and you know what? I'm sharing the screen too with all the chat, where the chat can see I hit reset on my tower. I'm for real trash. LMAO. I'm so unprofessional with this, y'all. I'm learning though. This is fun.
You're allowed to be.
I'm sorry, but you have a much more interesting story than me failing. So you go right ahead.
Josh, stop talking on your platform. Man, go before you start talking again.
Oh, quick! No. So now, just to bear in mind, the first other person beside this awkward dude I meet is Thomas. And just a little tidbit, what gave me it. I'm not part of the arcade culture at this point. I'm still like I think I was like kind of bro like because I remember kind of jokingly laughing at every aspect of how people took fighting games. Like I remember meeting Thomas and the first thing him being like, "Oh yeah, I play Jin and he's a hero and that's why I like him and I like doing his 1 2 3 2 and I'm like, what 1 2 3 what are you talking about? What? It's like, oh yeah, if you look at the buttons, I'm like, what? Why are you calling them numbers? It's square, triangle. What the hell are you doing? Like, are you trying to make this math? Like, I remember just and look at me like, what? And anyways, I just played real quick, and I actually beat him. And I guess he was surprised because we didn't know frames, we didn't know anything. But like, I can hell sweep, I can I can crouch dash, I can move around and just play and do moves. And I wasn't doing combos, but I was just doing like hits and whatever and reacting to him because me and my friends played against each other, so we had a lot of just natural competitive play, even if we weren't doing anything real, any combos. And I beat him, and I remember this is the first time I felt like that weird stranger, like he got all like weird and quiet and mad and stopped talking. I was after because I'm ribbing him the whole time, joking, talking trash because that's what we do with my friends, right? And wouldn't talk to me afterward for a bit, and I was like, "What is he like mad at me? Like what the fuck? It's just a game, dude. Like calm." I remember just being like, "What is these gamer dudes like?" I'm just this is so fucking weird. Like oh my god. So then, the next time I go to the arcade, this Thomas is like, "Oh man, you gotta meet my friend. You gotta meet friend Josh. Oh, he's the greatest." I was like, "Okay, whatever."
Thomas
So we walk over,
me?
and I remember you were wearing a cap. You're wearing a cap. You just got.
That's probably my Jack Daniels hat at the time.
Yeah, it's probably those black hat. Probably that.
It was a
I
black
remember.
hat with the white emblem. Yep, that was my Jack Daniels hat. That was one of my favorite hats of all time. I'm gonna let you know now. Continue. I'm sorry.
No. And so you were playing Marduk, and this first time we had really seen the character, and we just went into crazy mode. Like, what is this? Like, well, we seen him with Tekken 4, but Tekken 5 model and like the juggles because you were doing legit juggles, and we were just in awe of everything you were doing. I just remember being like, and we just had to sound off and everything. That's why we had to make up the names, just joking. I just used to just exaggerate because I don't know, it's like a different vibe then. I don't really do that anymore. Like I don't really like I guess I almost feel even just being honest, not going thing, I feel sometimes self-conscious about talking trash. Cause I'm not I don't know, like it's just not the same. Like I should get that back somehow.
That's
Uh,
Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that because that's, to be honest, that's what I've really been working on. That's why I've enjoyed Tekken 7 as much as I have, to be honest, and that's probably why I would like fuss at like speed kicks or other like tag 2 or T6 players that would get upset about the game, because it helped me find my joy with Tekken again. To borrow from Marie Kondo, like it really helped me remember how to enjoy the game. Because I mean, and hell, you just mentioned your first experience seeing that, like that withdrawal in like in person, and that was something that I know personally. And if it wasn't, it probably was. I'm gonna say maybe if it wasn't, just to give myself an out that maybe it wasn't, but I could definitely tell where the slightest L it would be withdrawn, like, and I hated that about myself. I wanted to make sure that it was fun for everybody and that they wanted to play, and it's just it's really interesting how as we get older we kind of like we look at things, we're like, what's important to us. For me it's spending time with friends, and sharing experiences and finding a reason to get better at something, and Tekken happens to fulfill all three of those things for me. And so
right.
this allows me to meet other people too who share one, two, or all three of those qualities. And I've got both of y'all here because you share all three. So it's probably, I'm not gonna, sorry for those of y'all that don't fulfill all three of those. It's gonna take me a few episodes before I finally get to you, but you're just not as interesting nor as amazing as people that embody all of that. That like they want to have fun, they want to have a good time, they want to spread that joy to other people, and they want to get better at what they do. And just like I love Tekken 7 for that reason, that I challenged myself to do that, and I feel like I've done that again. So like Tekken 7, like in Ahmed, you've known me for a long time. You know the I speak about Tekken 4 in the ways that, like, I'm trying to think of a good way to put this without offending people. The way that people that know they shouldn't talk well about, their joys, talk about their joys. Like 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 let's really talk about Tekken 4. Let's not. Can we please just remember the good times, not the bad times? Please, 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 please. What do you mean we had to heat our home with bricks? I don't understand. That was a joyful time in my life.
everyone
But
was together.
but like, exactly, that's what. But I've realized like that's what Seven has had for me, because I've been so desperate in reaching out to the older crowd, like some of the old, like the other T5 DR guys, that came in during that era, like Anthony, Sean, Ryan, Jerome, and getting games with them again. And I remember how much I did not enjoy Tekken 6, and I remember how I tried to enjoy Tag 2, but I just wasn't in a place mentally nor emotionally where I could really adjust nor appreciate the game for what it was. And 7 happened to come out in a time where I could. So maybe, just maybe, the people who are like Tekken 6 Tag 2 fans, that's their Tekken 4, Tekken 5 DR. Does that make sense? Like, that has
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
same, like, like, just
You know what's
genuine feeling for them.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I
Oh
didn't
no,
know.
no,
Sorry.
go
You're,
ahead. I'm done now. Like, by all means, I realized when I was going over the last video trying to timestamp things that I ran my mouth way too much. But it's because I wanted to like be involved and I want to talk to y'all. But I have to make sure that I give y'all the floor, that I let y'all speak. I can have my
no, no, you're
moments, but this is about y'all, because again, I want to share. I'm trying to share with the world, like, these people that I really love and
doing it.
adore, and I want to be around. So I'm gonna stop now while I've got the point across.
Yeah, I
Oh, you're
want
good.
to tag on. I want to tag on as soon as there's an opening.
No,
I
you're
do
good.
want to tag in and just grab what you said as far as like reaching back out to like your Tekken 5 OGs. I know you mentioned Jerome, and I don't know. I basically what I'm saying is I met so many like old schools. I guess now you can say old schools, like just through hanging out and jumping into lobbies with you. And as someone who's like fairly new to the game, that has been one of the most impactful like parts in this journey, right? And I'll highlight one aspect of it. It's the, even though it's online, like we on headsets and shit, like we ain't, you know, well, whatever. But that shit is so much fun. Just powwowing and like not even paying attention to the matches unless there's a dope launcher or a crazy comeback. But just the shit talking and just the rapping that we doing. That shit, I want that so bad going forward. Like regardless of whether I'm still gaming with you or Ahmed or anybody, like in 5 years, I want that really bad. And so I want to give props to you, Isage, for reaching back out to your homies and honestly giving them that gift. Because even though it's online, there's a sense of that same thing that y'all had back in the arcade days. You know, it that is not something to be slighted at all. Like I enjoy that shit and I want it going forward. And that's the end.
Ahmed, he got to experience a Tekken lobby with Jerome, which, as you probably know, is about the same as being in line waiting for the next game with Jerome. It's going to be incredibly entertaining and hilarious.
Me and Jerome played the other day, and it was just me and him in the lobby. And it was supposed to be something we're like, oh yeah, we're off tomorrow, so we're gonna play for a bit, whatever. We talked. It seemed like we were probably gonna end it like, we started at like around like I think it was like 9. Like we're probably gonna end around 12, maybe 1 if we're feeling late. Man, we were up at 5 in the morning talking about like life, history. He's telling me about all the history where we're talking about like the politics. Like we literally at one point we just stopped playing and just probably talked for like an hour to end this session. And this reminded me of I call them crack sessions I used to have back in the day with people where we would go to someone's house, be playing Tekken, and it's like, all right, oh crap, the sun's up. I guess we should get breakfast. All right, cool. I guess let's get a couple more games in before we go home. And like, what? What are we doing? We're literally gaming until the next day, and then going like that, almost degeneracy, and then like just you want to play this game, and you want to
Yeah.
play it with friends and your people, and you enjoy it so much. You know, you
Like
could be tense and want to win and lose, but even after the whole set, it's always all love. Like you could be like fuming at each other during the matches, like, oh, you keep using that move. Oh, you know what? That's so cheap. Oh, you know what? Like, and then into the match, like it's all jokes and laughing and making fun of each other for all the times. Like, oh, you got mad when I hit you with that, or it was just that's what it's about. That is what
like
it's about.
let me tag on to that. It's almost like it's like we get the same sort of camaraderie and the experience of like a bunch of friends like going on a canoe trip or a camping trip and like the same sort of powwowing and joking around and deep conversations as we would get over a campfire and just that reflection and that insight and just that is a beautiful thing. I mean, no matter the medium, ours just happens to be a fighting game. You see what I'm saying?
Like an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah. Oh no.
It really is.
People.
It really is. That's wild. I never even thought of it like that. It
Oh,
really is.
man, I'm playing Street Fighter.
I'm gonna get better games and movies. I'm gonna play Street
Let me
Fighter.
find something on sale. What's on sale today?
It's Black Friday. It's gonna be Cyber Monday. I'm gonna find something.
That's right. Yeah, I'm gonna play something. There's
Some
Soldier.
with this talk about the legacy about how we got into games, I was thinking about like if all the times, like you said, we try to spread tech, and you want to spread your joy, you want to spread what you love, you want more people to play. And I've come to at least a realization of myself that what led me to the path to get to where I was at, besides maybe some personal competitiveness or internal competitiveness that I may already have, is the process that I got to that point of like playing the game for like a raw love up until that point. So if I were to do things again from there, teaching people, or anyone else new, if I were to run into someone after now and like they were like wanting me to show them or wanting to learn more about Tekken, I would like the way that I would teach them is so vastly different. Like, now, a lot of people will be like, okay, here's the frames. You got to learn this, learn your combos. You can do this. I would be like, no, you're not allowed to look at anything online for your character. We're going to play for like, we're going to play for like 2 weeks to a month of just you pushing buttons, figuring things out, and just playing the game. And I'll play at a pace that will make it not uncomfortable for you to feel playing that way. And I want you to learn to like something before you know what it means. Just internally,
Yes.
I want someone to play the game and like
Yes.
do a move. So I like hitting people with this move because it looks cool. Like it's not because someone said it's good and it's 14 frames, but because I like it. then I'll learn how to purposely like. That's the thing that carries things. That's why like that's why I stuck and played Mishima, because I liked doing those things. If I started off in Tekken 5 and said, "Oh, this character looks cool. You gotta learn this, and this electric." What that was bullshit. I'm gonna play Law and do flips or something. But no, I spent all that time
I'm
on
so
my own
happy.
love, learning, struggling, but then just kind of like eventually learning how to crouch dash, not no wave dash or anything, but just be able to do the moves. And then when you were on that day we met, when you showed me Kazuya's wave dash when I remember talking to you, and you're like, "Who do you play?" It's like, "Oh, I play Kazuya," because Devil Jin wasn't even out at that point. And you were like, "Oh yeah, you should do this," and you literally picked him and you started wave dashing, and I was just like, "What?" Like it was like my mind, it was like the Matrix being imploded to me. Like he literally red pilled me right there at that moment with like here it is, like this is wave dashing, this is truth, this is where it goes, and I was like, I want to do that. I remember seeing that and saying, for whatever reason, I saw him wave dashing. I said, I want to do that. I have fun wave dashing. And that was a concept that he didn't have to tell me that you need to do this because it's good or frames. Just seeing it. And that's what I would try to impart to anyone I teach now with Tekken or anything. It's just learning to love something in the game, learning that character affiliation personally.
Yo,
That's incredible.
yo, Ahmed just said learn to like something before you understand it, and that shit hit me in the back of my soul. I'm keeping that forever.
He
That was golden.
Quell, he hit me with 5 different things at once that kind of hit me with that. Learn to like something, first. Like that's the number one key. That made me so happy to hear because that's something that I preach to people now. I'm like, the game has to be fun to you. You have to love it. And another one of those things is that you said something earlier when we were talking about like when you had come into the arcade that you were the one person amongst your friends that learned the move list. When I'm so for those that aren't aware who happen to go look at this in the archives or whatever, maybe, or whatever the case is, uh, one of my passions is player evaluation, scouting, talent scouting, etc. The first thing I look for, was this person inspired enough to learn how to use their entire move list? That will tell you right then and there who is hungry and who isn't. It's going to be the person that wants to know all their moves. It's very simple because people that don't want to succeed, or people that want to succeed are going to devour any type of information they get. So that's the first thing I look at. It's just like, okay, did they learn the move list? Can they do the move list? Especially a Mishima, like I can hell sweep. Like, oh, that's different than Street Fighter. You got to hit the neutral first. Like Quell, that was one thing that excited me about you. Like, even though you didn't explore the move list in depth, you were doing the hard stuff. You were like, oh no, I'm a double dive kick in combos. It's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Oh, oh, okay. So that's why I think one of the first things I asked you was like, are you a musician? Do you play instruments? And you were like, no, I'm in a band and I'm incredibly successful and talented. I'm like, oh, okay. Well then, I'm already jealous. First off, I can't dreadlock my hair because it'll just look like shit locks. It's just first. I can't braid it because it's gonna look equally terrible. But now you're a musician on top of it. This is not fair. But it's having that joy, and that was something there, Ahmed, that I was so happy to hear you touch on. It was because you had to find something that's joyful to you. And there was another thing, and there was like 5 different things there that you went over that course of time where I was just like, yes, core things. I know Quell touched on a couple of them, but probably that third one, that last one is when you saw wave dashing. It wasn't even a matter of like, oh my god, this is so great, I have to do it in order to be a good Mishima. No, it was just like, I want to do that because that's going to be fucking
Yeah, it was like so fast. I was like, I just want to run up to people. I'm like, holy shit! Like, I was just thinking about that.
Like, I can't wait to hit someone for no reason, and then be on the ground, just be going.
Because
like,
when you did it, I didn't understand the concept. I didn't know like what it meant of like positioning, movement, having all your move lists active. I just saw, man, you get to move like a fucking boss. Like you're in that person's shit. Like, I'm coming, mother. Like I was like, oh, I want to do that. Like that's intense. Like that's what when I saw that, I was like, I literally just said I want to do that. And that's the kind of inspiration that people should have in games. That like if you look at people that are successful and you look at like, not just successful, just look people that just stick with games. they all have that similar story. They're playing with their friends, pushing buttons. I really like this move. Then they start playing that character. People love that, and not to switch off or anything, but it's
No,
something I just wanted to
let's
say to
segue.
like any industry or someone happens to see this somehow. PSA, and it's touching on things that other people have said, like Maximilian, but
Right.
it's not about making the game per se easier for people to be competitive because that's not their first thought. If you want to get more new players into Tekken, it's about how they feel when a move connects, about how it looks when a move connects. Like when you're watching the new Guilty Gear Strive, no matter what you think, when Soul does standing fierce and it whiffs, I'm like, holy like that's the first time I saw a Guilty Gear move and said, damn, like I want to do that move. I want to just hit standing fierce because it just looks badass when just whiffing, let alone hitting.
Ahmed, have you
And
seen their
that's the
life
kind
bar
of
when they wild throw?
oh, oh, uh, don't tempt me.
I'm sorry. I just had to mention, like, oh, we don't got a combo now. We just do spinning pile driver damage as a pressure rushdown character. I can understand why non-soul players would be like, Guilty Gear Strive is gonna suck, but as a soul main, okay. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know. It's just that's just like I'm noticing like when they had that developer meeting and all the developers are talking, I could just see to some degree. I mean, Harada did have some stand-up things, but the Japanese developers, are kind of out of touch with the growing needs of our game, and at the same time, we are out of touch with what is expected for us to grow, and for us to grow and grow, two things have to happen. One, they need to make a game that it reflects the love in the game, a celebration of the game. They're realizing now, I hope they see it, that like they could make the next Tekken 8, and not have any new characters, and it'll be fucking fine. If it's beautiful enough, if they have enough new interactions, new experiences, because people just love their characters. I think a big revelation just in general fighting games is that it's about the IP. It's always been about the IP. And Tekken has a legacy that people want. People wanted Kunimitsu, and so next Tekken they could just have her mom there too or something. Like they don't have to do a lot to please the people that they have, and that those people's love is infectious. That's why Tekken's growing. It's like, how is Tekken getting more people? Because they look over at the scene, they look at the people playing Tekken, and they see the scene of people that they're so passionate about their characters. They're so passionate about this game. They're like, wow, I want to be kind of a part of. Everyone wants to be a part of something, something bigger that can kind of pull them in and make them feel like they're a part of something. And that's where that's where you're gonna get your growth from. So on this new game front, and the next thing that they have to do is they have to design the game from the ground up with internet in mind. And we always give these fighting game developers a pass on it and say, well, it's so hard, and the internet in America is not, infrastructure is not there. No, stuff that we talk about in the fighting game community, like rollback, that's not even new technology to other games. Because other games knew when they made the game, this is going to be played all over the world internet. So we have to make things work for it. And they might be doing a fighting game situation, but they still had that in mind. Fighting games have always relied on tournaments, the player base inspiring the game. They've never, especially Japanese developers, they never thought about internet as like a priority. And after watching like developers like the Killer Instinct people who developed Killer Instinct with their internet, why it's one of the best internet even now, that old game that's like one of the best onlines, is because they designed it that way. And after listening to them Keats, the one developers talk about Killer Instinct, I realized that if Tekken wants to really move the ball forward, because right now the internet improvement that they have makes the internet that they have stable over better, more reasonable distances, but it's still online. Like if you didn't like Tekken Online, you're not going to play now and go, this feels totally different. It's more like if you played online and thought it was acceptable, it's going to feel better. If you enjoyed it, you're going to really like it. But if you weren't about it, you're not going to be about it now. And that's the kind of change that has to happen in next Tekken 8. It has to be where Jimmy Tran looks at it and goes, you know what? I think I can do this. Like, and I think they can do it I think they, with the money, and I feel like Harada's innovation tactics, because of how much he innovates arcades. Not going to go into a big spiel with that, but just we know he
Yeah.
innovates every time. I'll just say, pick your own side. Every little thing he can do, he innovates to keep the game going and keep his
Yeah,
game
he
going.
does.
Use that noggin with Tekken 8, and it's online. Innovate and make it even better. I don't know. Everyone keeps. I can not to sound fanboyish, but like when Tekken says they're going to do something, they do it, even if the community doubts it the entire time. Like they really do what they say they're going to do. So I believe, and I'm ready to see what they're going to do.
You're not wrong. They absolutely do exactly what they say they're going to do, and they deliver. And it's it's funny. I, you said something there, and I'm so glad I have you both on because you said something that was so impactful to me. And then when Quell
Right.
was just like, I was like, oh, it actually took me to like the next level in the stage of thinking. That this is why I love having these talks. This is why I want to have like this is why I'm so glad that we're streaming this is because like these conversations really challenge you to proceed to the next level in regards to how you think about things. But you had mentioned about I was rambling there and I lost my train of thought. I'm so dumb. I hate myself
It's
right
all right.
now. I mixed myself up. I mixed myself up.
Something,
Oh, I remember. I
something.
remember.
Hey,
I
put the
remember. Thank you,
headphones on.
Quill. Thank
Hold
you,
on.
Quill. Because I
Yeah,
was like
listen.
something, 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 and he's
Some, no,
right.
hold
He's right.
on.
It was
Jo-
something. There was
Joshua,
something.
Joshua Isaac Brown, Joseph McWhorter. Shut the fuck up. Listen, you said it was something that Ahmed said, and Quell was like, "Ooh,
And yeah,
come
so
on."
I wanted to get y'all's opinion of this. And Quill, I want you to start us off on this.
All right.
Would y'all say that characters in a game should be maybe regarded as influencers for the game, like how we have social media influencers? Maybe they should, because Ahmed, you mentioned how like if they have a love for the IP, they have a love for the intellectual property. You have a love for Devil Jin, for the Mishima play style that demand on it. Quell, you have a love for Eliza, like
Yeah.
just you dive kick on them hoes. I
Yes.
have a love for MMA too. That's the start of my whole thing with Martin.
Sounds really. Uh,
Characters as influence.
Mm-hmm. As influencers,
Like,
so like almost like social media influencers. Can
like
companies
it's
maybe look to that more so
may-
as them as marketing tools?
maybe so because I okay. Along with that, to answer your question outright, and then I'll ramble
Okay,
afterwards.
okay.
Um, I would say yes, but with a caveat. Like the idea of exploration should be it should be tampered with, if that makes sense. And here's why I say that. Before I even ended up with Eliza, like a few of my homies will notice. Like tag two, I was an Eddie main, Eddie Christie main, hands down all day. Love it.
Oh,
Uh,
you were straight capos. Oh, you did
yeah,
damage then. Back
right.
1-4
You
counter hit.
know,
Oh, your life bar's
yeah,
gone. Okay.
it was fucked up. But I didn't get bored of Eddie, but I wanted to see what everybody else's experience was. So I jumped into Josie, and I loved everything about Josie, but something Jesse pointed out, he said, "Yo, she's not a hang back defensive character or a counter hit character. You gotta put the pressure on. You gotta play music." And so I was like, okay. And then as we were trying to develop an actual competitive team, everybody else was picking characters, and the only ones that nobody was touching was or wasn't touching was like meter people. So I ended up just picking Eliza and saying, "All right, so what am I doing?" And
yeah.
I fell in love with something that was at the time very new to Tekken. Like she just got here, and I didn't know that at the time. I didn't play Revolution or whatever, but I found I wouldn't say I found my archetype, but I found something that I enjoyed. And to tag along with what Ahmed said, I had sort of a foundation in how Tekken functioned, but I in myself I challenged my so I already liked the game, but now I was like, all right, now I like the game. but I want to increase my not understanding of a character. And so I already like the game. Now I super don't understand stuff. Nobody understands this bitch got meters. But I'm a forever love this game, and that's how I ended up like with a with an affinity for meter characters. So that's so to answer your question and to wrap it up in a bow, like yeah, like definitely characters as an as influencers, but definitely explore every possible everything. Some shit might crash and burn, but just like well, using myself as an anecdote, like someone's gonna find something that they just put together and they're gonna love it and they're gonna want it to continue because I mean that's everyone's character that they main now. It's something that they tried and put together and said, let's try this style, let's try this ethnic background, let's try this archetype, and you be hard pressed to find somebody. Yo, son, I'm down all day, son. Lars, I don't care how long they were saying he low tier, and now
Let's go.
season
Let's
that boy got
go.
blessed. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Did that answer your question? That
No,
good?
no, that's excellent. And Ahmed, two things. Number one,
Excellent.
I got to pee, so you're gonna have to talk while I'm gone. I apologize.
Yeah.
Number two,
I'll listen
how
to
grateful are you that he's an Eliza player and not a Julia player?
it.
Oh
As a
my
man that
god.
likes to hang back and carry you to the wall, how grateful are you that Quell is an
Uh,
Eliza player and has to have meter and not a Julia
that's
player that just has to
a
guess right?
that's a problem
By
character
the
for
way,
me. She
shout out to
gives me
Julia players. I love y'all, but
yeah.
you
Shout
do
out to
have to
Rashid
just guess right.
Shinkuwar. Shout out to Rashid Shinkuwar Atlanta, or if, I hope he's still Atlanta. I'm not sure if he
He's still in
moved.
Atlanta. He's doing good. He's doing real good.
Word. Yeah, man. Like you were saying, man. That having that foundation for your character, like having that love, and then wanting to challenge yourself. Like, I won't run into something that I won't have to repeat for Josh. Uh, like
Yeah.
actually, I just want to ask you, like, when you picked up Eliza and realized you had to do like meter stuff, and no one around you was doing that, that didn't feel like off. That like no one else could like could really jump in and like like one on one of you and show you stuff, like all on you.
In regards to like learning new things.
Yeah, or just learning the character. Like you're learning with a group of friends, and like especially like when everyone is kind of like learning different characters and stuff. When you pick up a character that's like way off the charts, it can be a bit daunting. That's why I was
Yeah.
wondering like how that worked for you as far as being able to like stick with that, and like was it all just a pure love of the character that really kept you there, or was there some like other aspect like the challenge was enticing? What you
I
saw.
would say I would say it was a mixed bag, a lot of different things. So, um, one, it was running into it was online Tekken, honestly. Like ran into a super good Eliza player that noticed me not at all doing instant dive kicks, which just for context, the input is quarter circle back, up back, four, and it's super fast. And so he noticed me not doing them at all. So he took it upon himself to message me and say, "Hey, you know about instant dive kicks, right?" I was like, it's just like super fast quarter circle back, right?" He was like, "Nah, man." And so he put me on game, and so that's how I was able to like really explore things. And then I jumped into a lobby with him, and he showed me all kinds of stuff. Um, so as far as like learning new things, a lot of it came from just running into people that were like kind enough and willing enough to show me. Um, as far as like playing with friends, I gotta throw it back to something you said earlier. Like it was a lot of just not really pressing buttons, but just watching other people and listening to other people in regards to I'll quote Josh. He says, "Yo, just play degenerate Tekken. Just run in and do something." And straight up, I would just be like, "Oh snap, I'm actually oppressing people with this frame trap that I discovered, and they actually can't do anything that I would get hate mail for. It's wonderful. I'm having fun. And so it was a neat balance of sort of not hanging back, because you can't just chill and not fight at all in Tekken, and just having fun with friends. And I'm gonna do rush down this round and just see what happens. And that's really how I just developed kind of a dangerous and unpredictable, even for myself, Eliza. So that's how that happened.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
yeah, it's weird. It's different, but again, like, it was a love for the character, and her having such a new and unexplored archetype, like that left the field super open for me to just wander and figure out and and cultivate, I would say. And that's a big part of why I answered Josh the way I did, in the sense of, like, yo, explore character, like, everything, explore everything. And because someone's gonna figure out something that, oh, this is everything I could have wanted, that I didn't even know I wanted. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
No, no. 100. That's one of the reasons I love my character's mission is because there's always, something else that I can do, some other technique to do something better or more efficient. It's just like this never-ending learning path. It's just that you can just see your improvement over time. You're not going to get
Yeah.
something instant, but you can see over time when you look back, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, that's a super dope thing. I love watching Mishimas, because if I hit like player match or something, and it loads up a Heihachi player, I shit in my boots. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to get omened to death. I'm scared to tech roll. I'm scared to do everything. Just, I'm a plug. No, I'm just, but yeah, man, no props to y'all. Boring. That's dangerous.
Mishima plays just after, like I said, after my experience with Josh would have shown me that me looking up stuff, which well, actually, let me just go back to your question. I want to miss your question about using characters as influencers, and I would say that that I agree that in that sense of like using the brand as influence, it's a lot safer than using people. No kind of uh, any kind of no kind of I don't mean to make any offense or not say offense, but I don't want to put out there in a way of like any kind of not this. I don't want to come off in a way that makes you think that I have against the Smash community. But like
Right.
what happened with the Smash community with its, I mean, that game is family friendly too, and like premier people like Zero and like big names that like had presence, and like for that to happen to make any company scared to put their stock and just a person
Right.
vetted through something like a game that doesn't really not necessarily like I'm not going to get into other people's or players or such things, but like gaming doesn't necessarily dictate a discipline and how you handle yourself. There's a lot of people that just like it can be with anything, but there's a lot of people that just get good at games and just like, okay, I get good at games, but I'm a dick, right? Whatever. Like, I'm a dick, I'm an asshole. And they don't necessarily like have like it's different with like sports and other things that have like there's no system around people. If you were just a person playing the game and all of a sudden you got good and all this attention's on you, now all of a sudden people are expecting you to act a certain way. There's been players that have literally been upset at feeling like they have to be a role model. Like, I'm not anyone's role model, I just want to play the game and beat everyone's ass. It's like, okay, but now you're seeing that it doesn't work that way if you're trying to move forward. And that now some of them are seeing the consequences of what they said years ago when they don't want to be role models, and like, well, now you're no one because you're no one model. There's
Yeah.
players that don't consistently make top 8 that are making money online, being able to just entertain people with their personality and love for the game, because you don't
Yeah.
have to be the top winner. People want to experience and share yourself, your view into the game. And so with that being said, using characters and stuff as influencers, I think would be um, it could be a great way, I think, to just put the media out there. I think that Tekken, it's much love and appreciation has in the FGC and just worldwide with other things aspects like you know Eddie Gordo is like an internet a worldwide meme.
Right.
He's in in weird way. I feel like Eddie Gordo is more of Tekken's Ryu than Jin is. Like I feel like more people probably recognize Eddie than they recognize. If I had to put money on it, like, worldwide, like how people they see someone breakdance and they see that yellow and green, and they're like, I have some bad memories attached to that or something.
There's a lot of 2000 aughts folks that they can't watch a breakdancing match without taking real life damage. Like, oh.
No, no, that's real. Like comedian Dane Cook, he said that on like a audio album. He was like, "Yo, man, somebody get hit by a car, they fly up in the air looking
That's
like
right.
Eddie Gordo from Tekken when you're just mashing buttons randomly." And I
Yeah,
pictured it. I was like, "Hey, that's me. I mash buttons random, and I look like I just got hit by some cars. Like, really? Yeah, man.
yeah. Forge the power of the IP because we don't Tekken doesn't use its IP enough. Not in the. I know they want to saturate because there's some missteps. We don't. They probably don't feel the greatest about the movie Blood Vengeance. Although there's a weird following. Jump. Why the fuck? Why are people about this Kiria dude? Why? What? I don't get it. Like,
I don't get it.
I remember Harada making fun of the director to his face because we went to the theater to watch the Blood Vengeance, I think is what's called, right?
Yeah.
Blood Vengeance the movie, and so I remember Harada being like, why did you make you know Zhao Yu and and Alyssa the top player? The main characters in this movie, they're not that popular. Oh well, we want to tell a story, and then I remember Harada that the funniest moment, like the theater laughed. It was like, so with all the characters in Tekken, and we have all these, and it was weird. He was doing it. He was like being polite, but it was also like he was ribbing the dude. But dude was so oblivious. He was just like, oh yes,
Yeah.
and Harada just kind of like giving him this kind of like not angry face, but kind of like, and he literally says to the guy, he says, hey. So with all the history and the characters we have, so many characters, I wonder why you created a character. Because he didn't expect him to just create Karya, whatever. Like, why did you make up out of all of the universe?
So
Let's make up
more.
characters.
Like, there's so many options to choose from. Like, how did we miss that one? And it's kind of funny because it really shows you the. Listen, artists, look at me. I love y'all. I support y'all and all your creative endeavors. Please stop reinventing the wheel. Please, please,
Talking
please,
to y'all, talking to us.
please. Don't rewrite that guitar solo. Don't redraw that painting. Please, just let it be. You could do a work that's inspired by that or a work that's based on that. Please don't reinvent it. I'm sorry.
Preach.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. No, you're right. You got him.
Because here's the thing: you're gonna have to deal with people's nostalgia. So find a way if you're gonna do it to pay homage, but also not upset people. But if you're gonna put your artistic spin on it over everything else, just understand that people are gonna hate you for it.
Yeah. Like I feel like Harada looked at that guy, the director of that movie, like George Lucas looked at Ryan Johnson after, The Last Jedi. Like, what did you do to my
Yeah,
Star Wars? What did you do to Luke?
or how all of us look at what's that dude's name? Oh, the cat he's the R&B Jaquise. How we all look at Jaquise. It's like, bro,
Oh.
can you not make an original song? You redid Rihanna. You redid Soul for Real. You redid yourself. How are you doing these things?
Damn, he ain't missed yet.
I mean, I'm gonna give him credit. He's identifying. He's using analytics to identify the classics and the part of the classics that make him popular. But still, like they missed that part in Soul for Real where it was "Have you ever left someone?" and then he did his own thing. It was just like I don't even know what's going on. I can't.
We went there, Josh. Josh went in.
I had to let him know. It's not okay. It's not okay. These are our memories. Let us have them. We don't have much else. Look, we saw what happened to the 2008 plus. Like we don't even have money. Let us at least have memories.
Wow, damn son, this boy is deacon. He is a deacon. Oh, I
I
see
was
you.
I was
Go ahead.
inspired, I was inspired by that man Warren. Warren, the
Oh,
only person I know responsible enough to be like, I need to take time from Facebook as Messenger. I'm like, you,
yeah.
you,
I mean,
you're the
but
one that needs a break.
in his defense, like, see, no, because you comparing him to yourself. What I'm saying is, maybe the amount that he does Facebook, maybe it's too much for him. Everybody
You
different.
make a great, you know what? You make a great point there.
Yeah, it's all good. Let's let him, go somewhere. Still free.
Warren.
That's my dog. Shouts out to Enigma.
You know, it's funny.
You
I've
know,
always said, like, I wonder if Eddie players like embarrassed Harada or Michael Murray in front of their girl and they lost like the woman of their dreams because of it. But now I'm starting to wonder, like, did they just kind of like try and split Eddie and instead they're like, look, Eddie players, all the things you want, we're gonna give them to Bob instead. So
Yeah. Uh,
just
look,
go there if you want
I,
all those things.
I don't want to do that to Eddie players because they've endured enough. I'm a go ahead, Bacon's extra. You go ahead and talk about. I would say
Quell's like, look, I have an alliance to maintain.
I,
So
I'm
I'm
gonna
going
feel
to send these points to you to make for me, and then I'm going to be like, I wish I could deny or confirm, but I can do neither.
yeah, I'm a politician. When it comes to capitals, I'm a politician. I'm right in the
Hey,
middle.
yo, hey, as a capo, with capos, you play politics. That's what you should do with any capo.
oh,
Uh,
sorry, that's loud on their thing.
What is? I can't hear anything.
you good? I
Uh,
don't. You straight?
oh, cool. I was like, oh man, I wonder if it's like, of course, the plane. But so speaking when you mentioned Bob and talking about that, one thing that had me thinking about just looking at people's reactions to like season 4 and just the previous season of season 3 in a balancing situation, it had me thinking about like how they how they deal with this, like this whole like the character situation. Like I guess the aspect that's really getting to me about overall balance and everything else, not even from stuff that we can't control. Let's talk about stuff that we deal with and that we are engaged in. And I feel that one of those things is that the way that we talk about balance or the way we talk about our characters. I'm going to bring up a person, Lil Majin. Um, I'm a big fan. Uh, Met him on several occasions, but always brief. He probably wouldn't even rename.
Same.
But because always brief, I was never around him in this thing. And his like kind of, I was like, I've been with Gio and I eat bamboo and other people from Tennessee, and
You
but just never
all of them,
in this,
but
never in
Dom.
the mix with Little Majin. Like just never in the mix. I was never in a room and like it was like me and a bunch of players playing with Anakin. Oh, Little Majin's here. I just was never. We just never crossed that way for some reason. Plus, I never made it to a KIT. That's probably a big one. I think if I made it to a KIT, and not just Majin, just more of the Tennessee folk because they're really cool
They're
people.
so
They're cool.
fun. They're so. Oh my
So,
god, Ahmed, you would have a blast. They are so fun.
Yeah.
but
Oh, we lost Ahmed.
Oh, damn. That boy phone probably died, son.
That's
Damn,
exactly. Oh
okay,
no, it
good.
didn't die. He already jumping back in.
hello.
Is he there?
Hey, he's already back. Let's go.
That's when you plug his
Oh,
phone up.
I don't know.
Hey,
Something happened.
yeah, no, you know what? Sometimes Discord will lock up, so it might have just been a Discord thing. It's probably nothing on your
Yeah,
end. It's probably just a Discord thing. I've had
Okay.
streams like literally die an hour in, and we're actually approaching. We're at like 54 minutes right now, so it's probably the same thing I deal with on a regular basis.
all right, but go ahead. You haven't met Lil Majin, but something KIT.
Well, I was actually bringing up. I want to talk about like how we talk about characters, because like I noticed that like when watching someone like Little Majin and stuff that he's created, and one of the things I really like about how he talks about his characters remind me of like how I felt people a lot more used to as a community talk about their characters, where we were excited to make our character strong. Like we were really, really wanting to pull out everything out of the character and really be like, look at how I can make this character strong. Where now, I mean, we people still look for tech and talk amongst their groups, but like once something gets kind of put out there, it's never like, ooh, what else can be there? And it's more like, oh, now they can do that. And like, there's like this weird moral kind of thing that's coming that I feel like it's a wave. It's slow, but it's starting to come over tiers. Or people way to talk about characters where like it's almost I'm basically what I'm gonna say. It's getting to the point where in the where it seems like further down the line, people will be morally object to playing like a top tier, like just like where it's getting to that point where the way that people are talking like this. I'm watching certain streamers other than like Lil Majin like almost virtue signal about the characters that they play or don't play, and like weird like. And it's like I mean it's always kind of existed with low tier heroes. You could always say they've been like, oh well, if I played the top tier I would win, but like it's different than that. It's like it feels bigger, and I just kind of worried about it. And and what Little Majin does is he's always ready to hype and talk. He never downplays his character. He's always talking about, he thinks his character is like one of the best. He's always talking about all the positive and strong things he can do, and he can show enthusiasm with it that's just infectious to see. Like he loves his character and he wants to take his character to the heights. Whereas like it just, and I know people within their scenes want to do that, but it just feels like as a community, when you look at the way people talk about characters and the changes in what they have, it's like no one wants a character to be strong. Like it doesn't mean there's a difference between broken and strong, but it's like you can be strong and you can celebrate being strong. And I don't think there should be anything wrong with it. You shouldn't have to feel you have to like slightly downplay your character all the time to be able to justify the work you're putting in with the character, because it doesn't matter. We all have access to the same tools regardless. We could all pick that said character or not. And it's really just about having more, again, the old point, having people to play with. And not to, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but it may be exacerbated by the fact that when we're playing online, there's no human connection. And what I mean by no human connection is that the fact that when you're playing someone and you're not next to them, so let's say you're fighting a Ling Xiaoyu online, right? You don't know the intentions of that person on that match, even if it's in ranked. The way that they play, you may think maybe they're playing a way, oh, this person's, just trolling me or trying to be goofy, or they're not playing serious. Even I've even heard some content creators complain back in early when Ling was really annoying in season 1 and early on, how like, oh well, they must pick her for easy wins because she can evade things and so annoying, and they can just get away things with impunity and not be punished. And I'm like, no, people that play Ling have waifus. They like her feet. Like that is why.
Hold on. It's not just a feet, Ahmed. We got to think back in the day to. Remember, we got two rays. We got two rays to consider. Let's talk about the first ray, and let's talk about the second ray. The second ray. By the way, the second ray, I should have invited to be on this talk with us because he would have been so fun. Like Ray, whenever you watch this, because I know you will, because you're the best. We miss you, buddy. Please come hang out with us. But remember with I call them Mexican Ray and Puerto Rican Ray in terms of heritage.
All right.
Actually, I call Mexican Ray McDonald's Ray because of all his crazy like 2 a.m. at McDonald's drive-through stories that he had. But remember what he would say about Ling? I would drink Ling's bathwater.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's exactly the type of playful that they need to market to.
Play that character. It has nothing. People aren't picking Ling because, well, I'm gonna AOP under things and be cheesy, and I want to play morally object. I don't want to play standard, straightforward, true Tekken. I want to cheese and not be punished. No, you like waifus. You like their feet. You pick the character up and she can push a lot of buttons, and everyone loves pushing buttons. Most people that fight against Ling are mad because she gets to press more buttons than you. And you don't want to press buttons. And she's pressing buttons all the time, whiffing buttons on. She has moves that she's intentionally supposed to whiff to bait you to be hit because they recover so quickly. So she's designed, if you want to just press a button just cuz, Play Ling. She's designed for it. Like you're like, I'm anti. I need to press a button. And I don't want to die for it. Play Ling. There's a button you can press. No
Okay,
reason or
all
reason.
right, you say that, but those same people saying, "Oh man, they just want cheesy wins and all that." Those the same people don't punish Ling's back turn like four or
Woo!
whatever. That kick
Talk
that
to him
every
now,
Laker
Quell.
player.
Talk to him.
I'm just saying, because I was almost like that, but then I was like, wait, hold on. I know he gonna do the kick. Let me just wait for the kick, and I punished the dog shit out of it. So I mean, that's all. I'm trying to blow up your point because actually, I'm happy you made that point and chose Ling as the subject because Lily players was sweating at the brow when you was bringing up waifu and feet and all that shit. But I ain't gonna lie.
I, I tried to save some, like Link
Man, you doing
there's some
God's
new
work.
blood like that introduced to Lily, and I don't want to make them feel bad. Like
I do.
I got no problem making them feel bad. They should feel bad, actually.
Hey, this is me. I play Eliza, so I'm calling the kettle all kind of things, but that's fine. I'm calling the
yeah,
kettle black, cheap, everything. I don't.
but yeah, that's what I was saying about people playing Ling and like just the way that people perceive these characters. I mean, I've said that so many different times. What I guess the thing that I'm trying to get to is what the point I was making with the Ling and them playing online and not knowing their intention is because the way that we talk about characters and their intentions, it leads us to the way that we interact with each other and treat and talk because it's like you could see it like this kind of toxicity that like if you're sitting next to a person who's playing Ling in person, right? They're sitting right next to you, immediately can look at the person and be like, like you might be able to look at them and go, oh, of course you play Ling. And if not that, once you talk to them, you'll see, oh, that's why you play Ling. Their intentions, nothing will be off. And I think it's a different kind of vibe than when you play someone online and they're like, yeah, he's going to play one match with you and then leave the match maybe because whatever, but like you don't know what that was. And like, so it creates I don't know, like we need to, I think it just makes, it's just that if we can not change how people talk about characters, but kind of as a community more make the people like little margin of people shine even more.
Instead of focusing on like what maybe in certain terms of rather than focusing on what the worst in somebody a character could represent, instead
Yeah.
looking at being grateful and just excited for the character rather than like cause, it's always easy to like when you don't play like when I play Mishimas, I joke and I half joke. I'm partially serious when I say that Jin is literally white privilege in a fighting game. And Ahmed, have you heard this rant yet? Because I know Quell has. I know Quell's heard
Yeah.
this rant.
Oh, he
But
hasn't heard
Ahmed,
it. Oh,
have you heard it?
The white privilege rant. I don't know if I've heard the whole rant.
Okay,
go
so
ahead, Josh. Go ahead.
Mishimas are white privilege. And the reason I say this is because they're the only characters in the game that fail up. So you go to electric, right? You're like Doria, Doria, Doria. Like this is how I'm gonna control the match. Doria, Doria. I guess correctly. I'm like, this is gonna be a Doria. This is gonna be a shot. This is gonna be a hit. I will decide. I will go to my left. I'm not playing a big character right now. I'm playing one of the skinny characters. I'm playing Lee. I have a 7-frame sidestep left. I will be okay. I will go this way. See this? This is how I should go. Not only am I going to go this way, I'm going to go, and I'm a duck. You ready? Sidestep, duck. Sidestep, duck. Sidestep, duck. Oh, I'm like, ooh, he's insisting on hitting me with the electric now. Look how tight my hands are. Look how red my fingers are. I'm so triggered right now. I'm so triggered. I'm like, sidestep. I'm gonna crush it. I've called it. This is for me. Ha. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I fucked up. But it's a counter hit launcher now. Cause Because you went the right way, but I'm a moron.
I'm a moron.
Never have I seen a character that looks more like any member of the Trump family than the Mishima family. Because, like, I fucked up electric, but it tracks the way that the electric does it, and I counter hit the shit out of you for half your life. And it's just like, this is why people fail up in life.
Let me tell you something. The fact that ISIS just said that Kazumi Mishima is Ivanka Trump, I am. This is what did he just
He's
said
not
that?
wrong though.
I think she's actually Melania because
She
she's
is.
aloof and she doesn't really like her group, but she's a part of it. So she, yeah.
I'm so mad right now, but she still benefits from like the 112,
Yeah.
the stature sweep, the stature
She'll
low.
still get the benefit,
She's like,
but she does weird stuff like pulls her hands away from the.
she's like, oh,
Oh my
like,
God.
this is not Tekken to me, but I do like this. I do like this.
Dude is so right.
Like,
He's
how
so
does she
right.
even get this? This is like no Mishima has this, but Kazuya has like ha ha ha. Kazumi's the only one's like ha ha ha, and even the Kaz's ha ha is still like isn't that 14, Ahmed?
What I'm trying. What move you doing?
Sorry, I look like a human puppet right now. Gut punch, down 414.
Oh, oh, that's 15.
That's 15. Cosby's at 13.
All right. So,
You know,
so
when
that's
bad players start acting
so
moves.
She's
hold,
Ivanka.
hold
She's Ivanka. Oh my! I'm so upset right now. I
let,
never even thought about that
let,
until now.
let me say something to the people watching. So all of that whole exposition was Josh explaining white privilege. So go ahead and wrap up mission of privilege for them boys because
So
right now you beatboxing.
I think my 0.6% Iranian blood that I found from my 21andMe. I
He's
think
stupid.
I think that allowed me to do most of that, but I did have to pull my groin in the process of all of it as the primarily Northwestern European bloodline.
He's so dedicated.
I pulled
He's
the
so
shit.
dedicated
I
to
pulled
the
the shit out
podcast.
of my hip right now. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yo, for y'all's entertainment, he hurt himself. That boy is 40
Shit
and
hurts.
he is out here doing the most for y'all. Damn it. You better subscribe or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
Click and subscribe. Hit the bell. Yes, I gotta learn how to do that in the
I
video.
can't tell him I'm not because it's like, no, I think I pulled my groin doing that.
Oh
See?
God.
So yeah, that's the Ahmed. What he's saying is that's what he means by mission of privilege.
I'm so glad I got y'all on here tonight. Just so we could just do stuff like this.
Yeah, for you to hurt yourself. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm glad to be here. I want to come back. This has been
You-
lovely.
By the
Do you
way,
guys?
open invite. If y'all ever want to come on when you see a guest that I
Yeah.
have and you're like, I want to talk to them, y'all too specifically. If you're like, put me in there, I want to mess with them or I want to talk to them, you will be here. Y'all are honorary co-hosts anytime you want. The only
Love
other
it.
person who has that immediate invite is John, and that's because John literally gifted me his old PC. I'm pretty sure I got this T-shirt because of John, this sick T7 chicken shirt. Shout outs to John
Yeah.
Lasseter and Nick and Deb and all the crew that. Oh man, there's another cat on there. I'm forgetting his name right now. Oh my god.
John holds it down.
I'm gonna punt that back to you, Ahmed, while I find out who this other individual on the T7 Chicken team is. 'Cause I definitely want to make sure I get his or her name in there before I forget about
Yeah,
it.
no. Sure you give those props. Those guys kill it. They definitely.
For real.
Yeah, man. It's Tekken 7 is a wild ride, and I'm happy for the changes that they're making, and I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing how this season turns out. Interesting. There's some concerns, but I don't know. I'm a little more hopeful, and also I know that if there's anything that comes up, they're gonna fix. It takes them. They're gonna take their time, and I really appreciate their approach. Because you might be fighting, Kunimitsu's right now, and be like, why can't I hit this little girl? Why is she so tiny? Why is things missing?
Right.
I don't know. I can't. I haven't done any testing or seen anything to see if it's Baccarat level, like buffoonery, where things just don't hit when they're supposed to, or they just made her unnecessarily small. And we just have to deal with it.
She's fair. Take it from my point. She's fair.
Column A, column B, in my opinion. There are some
I
things
don't
where
know.
it's like,
She's too early to call
I don't.
fair. We did the same with Baccarat. Like for example, she's 5 foot nothing, but her legs are like Baccarat. Her full crouch low hits at range 3. Range 3. I guess what it is that she has the syndrome that I think a lot of some new characters have, like Noctis and them have it, where they have this thing where the developer said when this person picks this character and they decide they want to do something, they're gonna get to do it. Like it's coming out and it's not gonna be just like easily avoidable. You want to go low and make the 50, push the button where you're standing. It will work. And like it's not to that degree with Noctis, but it's that same kind of like, oh, you want to go full crouch? Okay, well, most other characters might have to space it a little more to like get close, like Law or other people. Like, no, just you're relatively close to them. Just start it. They're not getting away, and they're gonna have to guess. Like she's designed to do what you want to do and be allowed. Her frames, a lot of stuff's like negative 10, 11. I'm like, what is this 10, 11
Yeah,
character thing?
it's not
Like,
even minus 12. That's the weird thing to me. It's all
Yeah.
like minus 11, minus 10. So I guess
Yeah.
if you're one of those characters like Horong with like a 4-3 or 4-4 type Punisher, you can kind of do stuff afterwards. But it's kind of interesting that you bring a little, and Quell, I definitely want to get your take on this because you play, one of those awkward body characters like Eliza.
Right.
And really, I would love to hear both of y'all's opinions. And I think Ahmed, I think you and I might have spoken about this briefly already, not during the stream, of course, but just in general. I see with Cooney, I see a character for the Julia mains that like to operate heavily on 50-50s rather than counter hit. Or so, and by that I mean like Julia's got her counter hit keep out game that she had always had previously, but she's always been a character that can get in. Like she's always been able to get in, but she's never really been able to mix you up. She's been able to get in, and then at that point, she wants you to panic to get her off of you, and then she can counter hit you and get her crazy damage. Where
Yeah.
Kuni is, she has that ability to get in like Julia does, but when she gets in, her gameplay isn't like frame traps into counter hit setups. It's full crouch while standing mix ups. So
Yes.
do you
Like,
agree, disagree? Like, how would you go from there? And the other thing is, like, she
I
has
agree.
with
I think
Julia,
that's
she's got
a
wall carry. Sorry, go
no.
ahead.
That's another thing too with her. Her wall carry is. I had a good long set with a couple. I mean, it's still early, right? But like I've already seen she has like everyone else got like wall carry nerfs, and she has the last season's wall carry. She has infinite wall carry. Like I can't count how many times I've been carried legitimately wall to wall. And I'm not just like figuratively, like no, like her back is to the wall. I go to pressure her and she does that disappearing flip kick, comes down.
yeah.
So she's flush to the wall and then she hits me because it whiffs and
On the
I'm like,
wall. Yeah, the crazy
and
flipping
then
stuff on the wall.
and
It's
she does a
crazy.
combo, and I'm at the other wall, and not just like hit the wall and run it for mix up, but she hits the wall, gets her full combo, all the hits. I'm like, yo, what
And
is
Quell, you've been
it?
playing her, right? Like as of late.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah. Like,
do you feel more effective in terms of like maybe forcing a 50-50 where like they can just block from full crouch while standing rather than like her back turn stance? Like to me, her back turn stance seems more of one of those like I want to get a counter hit out of you while her full crouch like while standing seems to be more of her like real 50-50. Like how would you've been playing her, how would you assess that?
yeah. So I would say off the rip, her back turn is something you would want to use once the conditioning part is down with the aforementioned like full crouch mix up and while standing mix up. Like once that's conditioned, like you can go for the back turn, and that's where like
Bro,
the
that
the
low dagger. The
it's
low
Oh,
nasty.
dagger is out of back turn.
So listen, so
Oh, I
listen.
already hate you
But,
for that move. You
but
didn't hit me with it. I hate you already.
Well, listen, but what I'm saying is to get to the whole to what I just mentioned, the whole back turn thing,
Mm-hmm.
the conditioning. So,
You're right.
like you
You're
said,
right. Yes, sir.
minus 10, minus 11, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like her power is a lot of.
the dash in. If you let her dash in and she gets in, that's where the mix up is. Like if you don't let her force pressure, you're fine. Like establish that shit. But the second you get caught, like I don't okay. I'm gonna say this and you correct me if I'm wrong. Have you ever been pressured by a Lee player? It feels a lot like the same thing.
That makes a lot of sense. Ahmed,
It
like how Lee does have, he's got that full crouch game because of the dragon slide, and he's
yes,
got the keep out as well. But
it's just
people want
that.
to play them aggressive.
Yeah, it's a lot of that same likeness, but if you shut it down and shut it down honestly, like okay, I let you get away with it twice. Now I'm for real shutting it down. Like you shut down every option, and there's character knowledge. Granted, just like y'all said, she's new, but it's a lot of okay. Another thing I wanted to bring up as y'all was talking, I don't know which Leroy Nerf it was, but it wasn't out the gate Leroy, but it was like after Evo Japan Leroy Nerf. It was like he was still dishonest, but you knew how to shut it down. That's Cooney day one
I
to me.
that
Like
that
she
that
can
makes
be
sense.
stopped. She can be stopped. It's a lot of it is in that dash shit. So many of them online, they dashing in with that like set three, I think it is, that
Hmm.
low shit
Hmm.
into the standing whatever the fuck, and her
It's
down forward 3-2, that like dumbass kick into the low kunai, and then on hit that gets a guaranteed forward two. Like a lot of that shit. And then they want you to duck, and then they get you with that set two with the dagger. You spin around, and then it's just a circus from there. But you make her play honest. You kind of got her, but she still needs some tuning up to do. If
I
that answers you.
I love
you know
that Lee
Steph.
analogy real quick. Yeah, just real quick. I love that Lee analogy, and Ahmed, I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this. A Julia Lee hybrid, and it's crazy. I had actually made that same assessment like week one on her because it was based off her counter hit keep out options. But Quell's
Mhm.
talking about like the way she gets in, especially like when she connects off like the set low, it leaves her full crouch while standing, which we've already talked about. Like that's she does damage out of that. Like
Right.
the character originally was like a Yoshi palette swap, and over time it's become this character where it's like this Julia Lee hybrid, but there's one element missing. And Ahmed, I know you. When I mention this, you're immediately going to probably start just theory crafting and come up with just the stupidest idea. So please don't pick Cooney after
Oh,
we're done
right.
talking. I don't want to
Mhm.
deal with that. Um, but it's like playing a Lee Julia hybrid, but remember Tekken Tag 1 and Tag 2? Where did Ancient Ogre get his unblockables from? Did he get them from Cooney? She's supposed to create mental frames so that she can hit you with those quick unblockables. That's my theory in terms of how the dev teams designed her. Um,
I like it.
I gotta pee again. I'm so sorry. By the way, I've been listening to all these streams like twice after I've listened to them. So whatever I miss, I'm gonna hear. But like, I really want to hear like your thoughts on this, like in terms of like a Lee Julia hybrid. But rather than trying to get you with counter hits when they can't open you up with the full crouch while standing mix ups, that's when they come at you with those like off timing unblockables. So I'm gonna pass that off to you. Pass that off to you, and I can't wait to come back and like listen to what I missed because like I, I
Yeah.
I love hearing from like I love hearing from like and I'm so excited to talk to both of y'all because like Quell brings stuff up where it's just like I I overcomplicated things so much, and you saw it for what it was. Because I'm over here trying to add layers that don't exist, and you're just like, no, this is what it is, stupid. And then and at the same time, like with you, it's just like, is there a layer? And you're like, there's not a third layer like you want there to be, but there is a second layer. Here's the second layer. It's I love the way that y'all keep me in check. So I'm gonna be right back. But I would love to hear your opinions on this on Cooney in terms of design and what she wants to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Go
Um,
for it, dude.
it's so super early, and I'm not gonna speak like I understand her, have her wrapped up super too early. Just early experience. some sets, longer sets, character and fighting
Yeah.
different. Like I fought, had a long set with one of my good friends, Eric Just Blaze, and that was a fun match. And then I fought another Cooney online as well, and they both had different aspects. Like Eric was playing a little more fundamental, straightforward, solid. This other Cooney was throwing some of the tricks in there, sprinkling them in, but not really, but not relying on, but definitely sprinkling them. And I guess just early on, just seeing things like I immediately feel she doesn't like you. Okay, I guess I look at character archetypes in some ways too. As far as like, well, actually,
Yeah.
that's not even archetypes. I look at characters and their functionality of what they do sometimes. The function of their mix-up,
That's
like
the best way to put it.
how you mix characters.
That's the
Like
best.
some characters. I'm sorry.
That's the best way to put it. Is their functionality, especially
Yeah.
in the case of Cooney.
No, 100%. Because
Yeah.
like some characters, like okay, they can walk up to you and just I can stand here and I have a low that you can't deal with. It's going to hit you for damage. I have a mid and whatever. Other characters have to mix you into stance. Everyone has different scenarios. But I feel like looking at Cooney, she seems to have every kind of mix up. Like where it's like at least in an effective level. Like I wouldn't call her like Leroy utility per se, where he has like everyone's move, but well, he did have everyone's move, but better. They started kind of nerfing him finally. It's more
Yeah.
just like she has the function that everyone has. Like, okay, here's my full crouch low. Here's my string that if I delay whatever hit, you get hit, counter hit, you explode. Here's
Here's
my
my
back
parry.
mix. Yep, here's my parry. Here's like it's like what don't you have? It's like okay, well maybe she has no range. No, I hit from ever because I'm not supposed to whiff. Oh, okay, Cooney. Cooney's not even though you're so tiny, you're not supposed to whiff. So it
No,
just doesn't.
I absolutely agree with you. Like, I mean, and just like you started off, like it is day one, so it's hard to say. But I like the point that you made in her range specifically because I mean, whether they nerf or buff either way, going forward, she still has what she has, unless we see the first ever like they start taking moves away.
Oh
Then
my god! I don't think she has
bro,
anything natural. Holy crap,
you see
that'd be
what
good.
I'm saying? They're gonna have picket signs and face masks. It's gonna be great. But like, I mean, but that's and one thing I want to say, like I mentioned her set move, the little dash in, and I didn't mention her katon, like the shit where she like puts her hands together and like has kind of a an option select from there. But
Yeah.
like that one I have seen used effectively, but it was amongst conditioning as well. But I don't know. So far, I would say the only thing that they can really touch is range, because I don't really know where they would go. But the question that I want to jump back to you is, Josh mentioned tag one. What do you say? Tag one Julia or Ling or something? What do you say? Tag one to you?
I think it was tag one. Like, well, I think he was talking. I don't know if he did. He say technically tag one,
Well,
Julia.
he said tag. Well, he said tag one, tag two, something.
Oh, when he was talking about tag one and tag two, he was. I think it's on the tip of my. It's like I think he was talking about their. What was it? Oh, he's talking about ancient ogres and how they landed
That's it.
them unblockable. Yeah.
Yeah, like where she got her unblockable from. So what I'd like you to do is put me on game as a young dude trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do with this game. Like tell me the experience, like, and how Ancient Ogres Unblockable relates to Kunimitsu, because he just alluded to it. I'm sitting here oblivious.
Oh well, she had a setup with essentially where uh between the two of them. I'm not familiar with the Tekken Tag One setup. I mean, Ogre. I know an ancient Ogre unblockable setup. I'm trying to think of him and Cooney. I know in Tag Two, it's because Cooney had this combo that she could do, and where she'd end it, where If you had ogre as your partner, you
Yeah.
essentially set up where ogres you do a combo and end it early where ogre's doing his standing he's doing fire. Now I'm acting out moves like Josh. I'm
Yeah.
gonna start doing and then
Beatbox.
doing kung fu like Josh. But he has this block where he
Bad
just stands there and
boy.
fire, and he moves from like
Yeah.
horizontally, and then so Cooney can like roll under and start mixing you the fuck up while the so it's like oh eat fire, eat Cooney mix up, like pick.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was it was but it was like it was a good setup, but it wasn't enough to make the characters I would say meta. Like you didn't see like this enough where it was like a like solid like team with Ogre and Cooney all the time. But it was something that if you saw those two characters together, you had to be recognized and be like, oh, I gotta be because this is gonna be annoying. I'm not ready.
I heard
I
my
couldn't.
name, and then as soon as I put my headphones on, I hear it's like okay, but it's not solid, and I'm just like
I saw that face.
I'm mad that I got read that hard,
No,
and I can't
no, bro.
deny it.
Oh my god. Yo,
It's just like
get out the
it's like
no.
I'm mad that my playstyle is basically Kunimitsu as a character. Like some bullshit happened. I mean, it's not like good. It worked, but it's not good.
No.
I'm just
Josh,
like I'm just
listen.
like
Joshua.
I can neither
Joshua.
confirm nor deny.
Oh, he come.
So listen, no, we was talking about like it wasn't even your play style. See, you made that up. You capitulated the argument. Listen, like, no, we was
Here
talking
comes the
about like
problems.
no, we was trying to throw it back to what you were saying about like tag one and tag two, like Ogre and Kunimitsu and how she got or how one of them got the unblockable. So I was trying to pick his brain
Mm.
on getting me hip to that because I ain't played no tag one. And so I'm trying to, I'm trying to tech steal. Like what the fuck was going on?
Did you Did you go into the details on the forward neutral two unblockable?
No, I didn't go into the tag. I knew I didn't go into the tag one unblockable or anything. So, besides that, all we talked about just briefly what I said with Cooney is I just mentioned that she seems to have a lot of the functions of mix-ups. So and I define functions like okay, here's a full crouch mix. Cool. Here's my delay string, and if you get hit with this hit on counter hit, you explode. Here's my back turn mix. Here's my while running mix. Here's my like and it's like you start looking you're like doesn't she like usually there's like a mix up that you don't have or like it's not prevalent but it seems like she kind of not she's not utilitarian like Leroy where he has everyone's moves and can do everything but it's like you can say the same thing with the Fakram and actually all of them like they all the newer characters have that in common where they are very keen every function of mix if you see a character and like the way they mix people up it's like well they can do that too in some sort of way
You've got the
um,
immediate mix up. You've got a timing mix up. You've got a counter hit mix
even
up.
better.
You've got a step mix up. And if you've got an option that covers multiple options, then even better.
That makes sense. So
But
I got
it's
I got a
oh,
question.
go
I
ahead.
got a question that's a little bit off the subject of Kunimitsu, if I may. Like I'm almost
You may
scared.
not.
I'm almost a bit scared. So older player, not older, no disrespect, y'all the homies. But like
I'm happy to be called older. Go right ahead.
See
like
my grade?
players that may become used to a particular Tekken, if I may say that. Like
Yeah.
this new introduction of these like how you said immediate mix-ups, full crouches, steps. Like, could it be that a newer wave of people are gonna be like see this as Tekken, and then that's the way people are gonna play now? Like what's I'm scared.
I think
I
that
think, oh,
there's two. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just there. I think the two major influences. I'll be very quick on this answer. I think the two major influences are going to be your initial Tekken. Well, technically three, but usually two of these blend together, and it's either and the middle one usually blends with either the first part or the third part. Um, and that being like, which one gets your start. So for me, it was Tekken One. That was my start. Like that, I in fact, to give, without going into too much detail, my Tekken origin journey, if you will. My parents divorced when I was 4 years old in the '80s, so I had to travel, back and forth to
Yeah.
see my father once a month, when the time came, and when we moved to Maryland. I'm sorry, we moved to New Jersey originally, when I was in. Well, my mom moved there when I was going into sixth grade. I didn't move up there until seventh grade, but that's when seventh grade. So that would probably put me at. Trying to do
13?
simple math
13?
here. It's probably 95, 90. Yeah, so yeah, 95. Actually, 95 is when I first played Tekken, and the first place I ever played it, believe it or not, my mom noticed it first. My mom, of all people, and my mom's amazing. I'm very fortunate. She knew that I love video games. I was a very big Virtua Fighter fan, and I actually went on an 80+ win streak at Six Flags Great America in New Jersey, and that was my first experience with carpal tunnel syndrome. Was right afterwards. I couldn't turn. So for anyone that's had carpal tunnel, you'll understand my pain, and I'm happy to provide you a humorous story for those that have never had it and are fearful of it. I'm sorry to feed in any fears. If I did
Focus.
this, if I did this right here, that shit was fucked. I was done so. I need mommy. So I literally had to just kind of like keep my arm in the prone position, like from that point forward. And I mean, if you could probably imagine like an 11 to 12-year-old kid just walking around like one arm purposely stuck out and the other one just swinging idly, and they're just like, yeah, this kid's gonna be a psycho when he gets older. That was me. I just went on an 83 win streak in Virtua Fighter 2. I'm so sorry, but um, my mom saw it and was like, and she was one that suggested it to me. She had come down. She had stopped at south of the border. That was one of our pit stops during that big drive from Jersey to Charleston. And when
Yep.
she picked us up, she was like, "Hey, I saw this game that you might like. It's not
Wait
a
a minute.
Virtua
You talking
Fighter."
south of the border? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yep,
Did you
that
say
one.
south of the border?
Yes, sir. The silver dollar
So
at
you
south
were
of the
not
border.
kidnapped and thrown in a white van.
Was that?
You were not kidnapped and thrown in a white van.
I was in
You were
a.
not
I was in. I was
inappropriate.
in a. It was in a blonde. I was in a blue Dodge Caravan, but I was
Find
not
out what
kidnapped.
men are.
I was not kidnapped. It was neither white nor was I kidnapped, but I was in a van. It was a minivan, but that's like half a point, right? It's still half a point.
But I wasn't a van.
So,
Someone didn't show you a milk carton with your face on it saying this is your future.
yeah, and then the guy at the fireworks stand like looked over at the thing, looked at me, looked back, and was like, "I don't want to deal with this tonight," and still sold me the fireworks.
I don't know. I believe it. Like south, the people south of the border, like I believe it's a place where even the kidnappers get bored and like, you know what? I don't even have the energy for you,
Oh,
kid. You're
especially now, like during the '60s and '70s when serial killers wouldn't get caught, they were like, "Yay, south of the border!" But like
Hey,
in the
Hey Josh.
'90s, yeah.
Hey Josh.
What's
Can I
that?
say something?
Well, go right ahead.
Look, look, you was
Stay
talking,
on task. I'm gonna stay on task. I'm keeping it in
you was
mind.
talking about your mom said a game you like.
Yeah, she was like, I saw this game. It was like, it looks like it's a 3D game, and my mom's very, she I'm very blessed. My mom's more intelligent than I could ever hope to be, and
Shouts out to mom.
yeah, shout outs. She's incredible. Um, and she was just like, you know. This looks like it could be something very cool. She's looking at it from like a technological, innovative perspective. Like I'm looking at it from like, something to play. And Ahmed earlier talking about like I was the only one that could do Thunder God Fist, and when he could do, my friend could do Death Fist. My friend and I at the time that would play the game, it was literally Tekken One came. We would have like nights where he would spend the night, and we'd have like 100 games, like trying to get like first to 50 against each other. Not even just like I want to get 50 wins against you because I'm better than you. Like, no, I'm better than you. Like, and then you just play all night, and then the 2:30, we're like, oh, I'm tired. You want to get cookies and go to bed? Yes, let's go do that. But like, the big thing was like he was a Paul player, and he figured out how to do the Death Fist, and I was a cosplayer. So my big thing was like, I could Hell Sweep, or I could Thunder God Fist, and I wanted everything in this world to hit Thunder God Fist. So I was just like, which probably explains a lot of my current play style. Why I was just I was willing and committed to Hell Sweep, and no follow, just hell sweep, hell sweep, hell sweep. I will get you to duck, so help me God, you will duck. Hell sweep, thunder god fist. That was like my starting to Tekken, and there was a reason I got into that. I don't remember. I don't care. It's not important. What's important is what y'all are talking about. So you pick a
Yeah, I,
pick a
I think
subject
I
and go
think
forward.
you're going with. I think Quell brought up the point of talking about how like the with what the new Tekken and like the way Tekken's played and differences. Is it going to influence like new people coming forward? It's
That's
like
right.
this is what Tekken is,
That's
and
right.
I think if you would define Tekken is, I would say that like each generation, from my experience, just looking at the scene, had a kind of a line, and that line is a division between players that accept what's going forward and players that don't. Um, like there was a line that split that I wasn't even around for, but I heard about and listened to when I was in Atlanta, hanging out with like the Tekken crew and talking to Truth and him giving me like history lessons on Tekken and telling me
Yo,
about.
shout out
And
to that man, Truth.
oh yeah, such a great guy, great people there. They're just so welcoming. And they embraced anyone that showed love, that wanted love, and wanted to play the game. It was just how it was. Like little side story for Atlanta Tekken, just to show you the kind of people they are. When that year
Oh,
they
detour all
Jin
you want, sir. This is y'all's time. Like, go off
Jin
on tangents.
remember when they and final round when Jin a top player, Devil Jin player, pad player Jin Kid was playing, and he was fighting a player that they know as Killer Six, and he was playing Baek, and I guess he wasn't familiar, ready for the Baek matchup. And Killer Six proceeded to take down his Devil Jin, his Kazuya, and his Jin, because he didn't know what to do. And I remember at one point he like before the last match he got up and was like getting ready to quit, like literally leave right there. Like he walked up like because ATL was just going off like every time Killer Six was landing anything, like they were just like huh, huh, making all kinds of hype and noises. It's going off, and I guess he thought everyone was like so against him because they were all rooting for Killer Six. He didn't have anyone with him. I think he's from, I don't remember where Jin, if he's from Ohio or
He's
where,
originally
but
from Oklahoma, but I think he was playing with the Texas crew. I don't know if he was part of the Dallas Fort Worth crew at the time, or
uh,
if he was
he had
strictly if he was Oklahoma. I know he's currently Oklahoma though.
he had some weird kid with him that was like his weird fanboy.
No,
But
no,
anyways,
that's right. He was Oklahoma, but he was playing with the Dallas Fort Worth players. I know and then he ended up going back to Oklahoma. By the way, when you finish the story, actually and we'll screen share when people are ready, so that y'all can witness as well. This is one. It's also on.
yeah,
And I'm gonna let you get back into this. So I'm gonna give you all a little trivia question that will never be asked, and you will never get a free drink for this. So just as long as you can accept this, that's okay. Anakin, I'm gonna show you this, and this is actually on. Hua, I love you, bro. Like that's my dog. I'm so fucking proud of Hua. I know Ahmed. I know you are too, because
yeah,
you and I were watching Anakin grow up around the same time. Like this is actually on Anakin's original YouTube account. That was his old AIM messenger name.
Oh shit.
And if y'all ever see this on Tekken and they beat the dog shit out of you, you just got beat by one of the best players in the world. You got beat by the best American player of all fucking time. You just got beat by the best Jack player of all time. Like I can't even begin to like. I'm so excited whenever that man can get time for just sit down on one of these talks with me, and I can just be like, "Listen, young man, I'll never forget beating the dog shit out of you in Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection with Dragonoff at the arcade, and you losing to a bum ass character." And this is well after Ahmed. This is well after you and I were like, "Oh no, this is not a decision built for success. You should just stay with Marduk. Don't do this to yourself." This is
Oh
like
my god.
this was like a good 6 months after that where we were like, "Yeah, this is a lost cause. Don't do that. Don't do that at
yeah,
all." And then I
What's wrong
rolled,
with
and this wasn't even like I beat so I beat him fair and square 40%. The other 60% was that we were at the arcades and he didn't have a pad. But I will hold that over a 13-year-old child any day of the week.
There
Don't
you
think I
go. That's
won't.
what I'm talking about. Savage.
Don't think I won't. Y'all got all your coordination at this point. I'm watching a 5-year-old right now. And I'm like, oh, when you're 13 and you can actually like drop combos, I'm gonna be like, you're a trash. Get out of my house. Play the match from the window where you deserve to play from. Like,
God damn it.
I'm gonna we'll leave the blinds open and he's gonna be just nasty. Be like, how did you get better? My father would make me play first to tens outside the
Oh,
house.
oh. You know he's not going to play Tekken for you. He's your son. He's going to be a DOA player.
Oh no, he's a
Because that's
Smash player.
Oh no!
He's a
Stop it!
Smash player,
No,
bro.
don't do
He's
that.
already a Smash
no,
player.
no, no, not Smash. Because no. So you have some joy for Smash. You had some history at Smash. No, it will be DOA or
I have
no,
more history with DOA. He's
no, no, no.
he,
No. He will. No, he won't play DOA. He will. There will be a resurgence. Like Smash will die because Nintendo will just start killing the scene with axe and fire. So
Fact,
then there'll be a
fact.
resurgence. I predict this. My prediction, first heard here.
stop.
Bloody Roar will come back. Bloody Roar, and it will be more degenerate than it ever was. And your son will. Love it.
More degenerate than it ever was. Man, no.
Son will be a Shenlong player, of course.
Man, hold on. Hey, hold on. Hey,
Just
I got a question. Hey, what's coming back first? Bloody
I've
Roar?
seen it already.
No, hold
The
on. What's coming
Memphis
back
when he runs
first?
back and forth and he decides like oh my god and Josh calls the Memphis and he runs over and Memphis is like and he's like no wait you have to settle down it's like he's already ready to change stances with Shenlong. He's already ready to just what do I do next? All my buttons work.
No, dog. No. Memphis gonna run up on him with that. Daddy, a new game came out. What's it called? It's called Shaq Fu Remastered. That's gonna be the one. I want that. I want that.
So, I'll be honest
Yeah.
with y'all.
I don't know.
I thought I was I thought I was a good ally, like in all things, like not just in like life things. Like I do my best to ally myself with LGBTQ. I do my best to ally myself with any POC. I do my best to
Yeah,
ally myself with anyone, ally myself with any fighting community. It wasn't until y'all mentioned my son being a poverty game player that I realized how how
oh,
classist I am. It's
oh
uh,
no.
I
We just me and Ahmed just split the atom. It's over.
I
It's
just
not.
like if he comes to me and he's like, I'm a Konosuba player, I'm gonna be like, get out of my house.
Oh shit.
Back up this
Just be
stuff
like, and he's
Pokemon
like,
and
but
hit the
daddy,
bricks.
look, this takes a lot of skill to do. Be like, it does, son, it does. But against who?
Against who?
And what kind of life can you like what kind of stream can you build for yourself with as a Konosuba main?
Oh man.
What kind of life? What kind of stream? Just like, oh, you're a Blaze Blue player. Oh, son, we called it Blaze Green because you had to be super high to enjoy that. And Daddy was super high all the time and never enjoyed it. And when Daddy played, and he was just like, "There's no way anybody can respect themselves and love themselves and play this game as their primary game." And here you are playing it. Why?
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the way, shout outs to Blaze Blue players. Y'all are going through a lot right now, and I appreciate you for still staying with us after all that abuse.
Y'all will be alright.
They're
They'll
gonna be
be
all right. Yeah, y'all will be all right. Y'all played Blaze Blue. You can survive this.
exactly. Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
seriously,
It makes
that was like the first game. Well, sorry, that was the second game in my lifetime that I've ever tried to play and and been like, Jesus fucking Christ, how could you try any harder to make a game less enjoyable? Rise of the Robots on the Super Nintendo is still by
Oh
far
god.
my Ahmed's the only person that has heard this rant.
Ooh, oh god, I can't even sit.
I, I played this game for all. I don't think I got 36 hours out of the game before. This was the first game I ever returned to Blockbuster.
Oh my god.
So I was mad. Can you imagine being a child? Like you're already terrified to go into the store to pay for something. Like to go return it. Like you feel like even worse. Like oh my god. Like we paid for this and we didn't like it. That's our fault. And this person's not gonna like us. Like Rise of the Robots. I was like 11, 12, and I literally like I could have probably if I had Gambit powers, I'd have kinetic card the shit out of that fucking clerk right in the chest with that goddamn case and been like, you give me something that does not suck and will never suck that bad because that was awful. And I played Eternal Champions. This is a special kind of awful. And and when I played Blaze Blue, I was just like, whoa. Is there a
Hey,
way to return a digital copy? Can I do that, please? Can I?
I don't mean
Oh,
to.
this is mine.
Listen,
Oh,
Josh, you know me, and I like to piss people off. So this is my moment to do that. I returned Castlevania like on Nintendo 64. I hated that damn game. So anybody who's fans of that, so just so you know who to hate,
I just
that's
want you to
me.
know you will never be
So
invited to any
good,
any
good,
charity stream with speed runs. No speedrunner will ever want to talk to me like, harumph,
good, good. I'm
harumph.
not talking to them. No way. Now they know
Yo, do
who
you
the
see
fuck
Ahmed's chair? That shit looks super comfy. I'm not even joking. Like
it is.
he has a
No, it is.
yo. Look at the chair I'm sitting in right now. Like this is what
I mean,
I've got a bar stool chair with a back on it. Okay, and it's not
what I'm
even like a
saying.
full back. Like look, shoulder blades are completely above it. That's why I'm always like, or holding my neck and I'm grimacing left and right. Meanwhile, this
Ugh.
man's out here with back support and like
Yeah.
ventilation, and
Yeah.
he's outdoors. He's enjoying
No.
the South Carolina weather. By the way, like
Yeah.
I love
No.
global warming because all the hurricanes are hitting north of us now. Like it's just beating the shit out of Wilmington.
He
So
said, "I love global warming because all the hurricanes ain't here, and it's like very much November, like late November. This is what isn't it great? This is the shit. Shouts out to South
yo
Carolina.
how like this
Well,
was
not really.
like did we have any hurricane warnings this year? I didn't evacuate. Did you
No,
evacuate?
no. But I'll tell you when we did have like any type of hurricane and tornado warm in the fucking summer. You remember that shit?
Phew.
Exactly.
We don't want to have a
Global. No, no. But listen. But you just said shouts out to global warming. Now we got summer tornadoes and shit.
so
Shouts out to global.
global warming. Shout outs again is so global warming's playing a 2D game. You know they're playing Dragon Ball Fighters, right? And they got Broly assist, so they're like covering this part of the screen, and then
No, they got
they're dashing from this part. But we're at this part, so like we don't play neutral. Okay, we don't play neutral. We come down on one side or the other. It's give or take. And on this go
yeah,
around, we came in on this side. So go fuck themselves.
yeah.
Now next year we're going to guess wrong on the descent and just going to get the dog shit beat out of us. But that's neither here nor there.
Hey, that's fine. Hey, it'll just be next year. Plenty of people already got that shit like banked in as 2020 part two. So we'll see what happens. Whatever.
Like if people want to know what it's like living in the South, imagine living in California, but like instead of having like gangs, you just have racism. And I mean, is there anything else really that I'm missing? Oh, and we don't have money. So like parts of
Yeah.
California is all of us.
Yeah, but like with California, it's very much almost the same. Like in South Carolina, you can't afford anything. In California, you can't afford anything. Everybody's hooked on drugs. Everybody's hooked on drugs in South Carolina. And it's a bunch of natural disasters. And the only exception is racism. Holy shit. Wow.
And really, it's just like the different types of racism. In Cali, you've just got like oh you don't fit this group or this neighborhood. That's go time. You know,
Yeah,
here it's just gonna be like you're walking through and like okay
I
like
got
that couple clearly hates me.
no, I got it. No, I got it. In California, it's more focused classism, and over here is how dark you are.
Which is it's
Yeah,
also weird because like the darker you are, like the more racist it gets, but the more willing people are ask you to like do things to their wives. It's really weird. I don't understand that.
What the hell?
Like that.
Maybe
that
I'm.
like I,
Where you be?
I have all my friends are just like, that's the way that white couple looked at me at the bar, and I'm like, what? People do that? They're like, yeah, no, they wanted me to go home and do things to their wives, and I'm like,
Wow, interesting.
that's a real thing. Yeah, bro,
I mean,
that shit freaks me out. I'm not gonna lie to you, like that shit.
I ain't gonna and
Uh.
no, you good, you good. I ain't gonna lie. Like racism
It's
down
not
here.
it's not even like the interracial thing. It's just like go do something to my wife. It's just like, but that's the better.
Look,
I understand sharing my toys, but like even like my
well,
favorite action figures were mine and mine
no, that's what
alone.
it is. Yeah, no, that's I don't, I can't speak for them. I almost tried to speak for them. Caught it. I
Maybe
didn't.
that's what it is. Like the way you treat GI Joes, is the way you treat your spouse when you're older.
It's kung fu grip.
I hate you. I hate you. You're dumb.
But no, like no, I ain't gonna lie. Like as a black man in South Carolina, like okay, I like what one of my favorite comedians, Doug Stanhope, what he
Oh
said
my
about
god,
race.
that dude's dumb. This dude's dumb as
I
shit.
love him. I love him. Don't hate me. Whatever. I don't
No,
care.
no,
But like
he's stupid. He don't have any
this
sense. He says
at
things and you're
all.
just
So
like,
listen, hold
I'm
on,
mad I
Josh.
laughed.
Josh.
Go
But
ahead, go ahead. You go ahead.
what he said was, you think you understand racism because you're not white. He said, I hear the things they say about you when you leave the room. Like on the flip, it's the same as a black man. If I'm hanging around like an old school in South Carolina is just a general term for like an old school black person that has been through the shit as a
Oh
person in South Carolina.
yeah.
So if I'm chilling around an old school and a white person walk by, I will hear some vile and funny shit about white people, like some shit. I'd be like, wait, what'd you call them? Let me write that. How you spell that? You don't even know how to spell that. Bet I'm gonna
Bro,
make something up because
you
that's too funny.
you have
Like
no idea how
it's
happy I was when I heard that white people smell like wet dog for the first time.
yeah.
Oh my god! And saying that to other white people, like
Oh,
was
I got you one better.
Was
I got you
Cece
one
in
better.
here? Was Cece on the couch?
No, the one my the one my homeboy put me on, and this is like this ain't out. It might
Oh,
be South Carolina.
I'm excited. I'm
The,
excited.
the one my homeboy put me on was when you like in a beef with somebody who racist and you call them and you not call them but you say something to them and you say, yeah, okay, what's your uncle, dad, and aunt, mom? Boom, boom. I was like, wait, oh wait,
I want two.
you beat the
I want
game.
two. I want
You
two.
beat, yeah, 112. That's it. That
Someone
is
just got jab
confirmed.
punished. God damn.
Yeah, that shit is confirmed, son. I was like, yep, writing that shit
Oh,
down.
I
But
almost hawked up into that drink just now when you said confirmed.
that shit was confirmed. But anyway, back to fight games. Man, yeah.
Oh my god! I'm so happy
But
to have
listen,
y'all. I don't even care
like
that Aqua's
no,
been
like
gone for a hot minute. I'm happy to just talk to y'all.
yeah, but like I'm saying, like to jump back to it, like this is what it is. We would have this same
Hey, you
conversation
got
in a
one or two
lobby.
here. Oh,
Hey,
Like,
Ahmed, you got some
man,
great words to listen to when you come back.
oh, y'all, bro. But
We stupid.
sorry,
listen,
man.
like
We
this
dumb.
same.
No, we out here. Quell stupid.
Oh man, now he
I
throw
have
it
a
all
stomach
back like he
cramp
want
that I
to
just. Whew.
Hey, I had mine right before we started. That's why I was asking Quell, like, you want to go at 9 o'clock? You want to go at 9 o'clock? I didn't want to tell him like I don't know if I'm gonna be ready by 8:30, but do you want to go at 9 o'clock?
Mm.
That was rough.
Yeah.
I was sitting here when you were like, I'm ready to do a sound check. I'm like, shit, I'm definitely not.
Oh my god! See, I was acting like no joke, Josh. I gave you immediate props. I was like, oh man, he on his episode too. I'm sitting here fighting against a devil gin and talking to my bandmate. Like, hold on, I gotta come correct. Maybe this dude he's ready to go. I might get kicked off, but no, it's you. We good. Yay!
I don't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about dumb shit.
We was talking
People
about
doing
all
I,
the
I,
South Carolina people doing things different. I know we were talking about that.
yeah. I don't know.
oh,
Oh, excuse
last
me.
thing I remember is when you brought up like the differences in like the generations in Tekken. That was a while back.
Yeah, you
Hey,
was
that
about to
seems like
say
a
something
much
about
pure
that.
place too. Quell, take us back there.
Oh, I got to take him back. All right, bet. So, yeah, no, and really, I would like Ahmed's take on this. Like, just to recap, it's like with how Josh introduced or highlighted rather, like how a lot of the newer characters are very mix up oriented in a sense of immediate steps and full crouches specifically. Um,
Mhm.
and if and my I guess honestly my worry that the newer people picking up Tekken and hopefully inbound to you know take off in that shit and really create a whole new branch like what that would do to the with the older generations and the people that try to keep that game prevalent as a part of their hobby source and things that they have been influenced by. Does that make sense?
That's a great
Yeah, yeah.
question. I apologize to the stream for seeing my mouth from across the screen because that's a good ass question. There's two parts to that I want to take notes on, so I don't interrupt any further than what I just have. So Ahmed, please go ahead.
Write it down.
To be honest, I think that how we define Tekken should be like I think I might have briefly said it, but like I think that Tekken is not necessarily defined by the way that the characters or what what the necessarily the meta is per se. Oh, I remember before like I was talking about how every generation has different dividing lines.
Lines. Yeah.
Like so like for example with what happened between well tag Josh should probably actually explain more about the differences and breakdown between Tag One and Tekken 4. But I can speak from experiencing and seeing when I joined Tekken 5. I saw the like some of the old guard like JOP and some like other legends leave because Tekken 5 introduced something that wasn't there before, which was the crush system. And as we see the crush system now, it makes sense. Like, oh yeah, you go low, I win. That makes sense. But for someone like JOP, he was like, no, that's not skewed correctly because if I do something like a crouching jab with minimal reward and everything else, now it's a huge risk because you want a hop kick. That's crazy. That's so degenerate. That's not even Tekken. And that was like he made this big post on back then where people used to actually go on a forum called Tekken Zaibatsu
Yeah.
about it, where he was like, I'm kind of done with this kind of Tekken. I think he did that after maybe the Evo where they had the 5-on-5 USA, which was a big thing too. The USA versus Japan 5-on-5. Mishima Star, who go on to now be one of the developers of the Tekken battle system or whatever balancing, was there competing. If you want to see an epic old school match with some Tekken 5 legends, um, but yeah, and so what happened is, actually I don't know if there's necessarily a Tekken 6 divide per se in the game change, but like for example, Tag 2 had another thing where people were like, "Whoa, what is this? This is like Tekken plus Marvel, like in some regards with like the damage and the two characters in there and like the craziness it kind of felt." But then other people looked at Tag 2 like Jimmy Tran thought this is like a technical marvel, like everything's in here. This is amazing. And he
Right.
loved it for all the things that you could find and explore in it. And the reason I'm bringing those different divides up in community leagues because when the next Tekken comes out, there's just no matter what, there's gonna be a group of people that are gonna look at whatever is the changes and go, this doesn't feel per se the same. But I think we always have to remember as the community and Tekken community that out of all the games, I feel like we have pretty much, besides maybe Tekken 4, and even then there's some there where it's the most homogenous game. Like Tekken doesn't have the philosophy that Street Fighter has, or other fighting games have a specific philosophy where each iteration from Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, to Street Fighter 4, to Street Fighter 5, their philosophy is the people that come into Street Fighter 5 that played 4, the 4 players aren't going to have this 4 advantage on some of the tech they have. The only advantage you'll have from playing Street Fighter 4 is Street Fighter fundamentals, but nothing specific and like. But Tekken players, if you like Quadons, who's been playing, Jin and then now turned Devil Jin since he was like a teenager back in Tag One in the 90s in tournament, he's been doing the same kind of mix-ups for almost 20 something years, or at least probably 20 years
Yeah,
at this point. And
goodness.
so it's like, what's Tekken? It's like, well, he's been 20 years of doing the same thing. I think Tekken realizes it has a formula overall that they may make tweaks to that may get people upset. But the core of what Tekken is, I feel like Rada and them are pretty dedicated to. And I'm not really worried that like let's say stuff that they do with like we see Leroy and Fakaram, we're like, oh, is this what the game's gonna be? I'm like, I'm not worried about that. I think that they're innovative enough and do things enough, and the community is so core enough that even if we lose a few, we always get to gain more because people will move with this game because I think they understand at the core that I guess a simpler way to say it is that Tekken holds its legacy, like it cherishes it more than I think all the other fighting games. It cherishes its legacy, and
Right.
that shows in that legacy to me is like fanfare in a way, and that's kind of what helps keep Tekken so strong. So I'm not really per se worried about changes or like the how Tekken meta kind of develops and goes in the future of new players. I mean, they're the new players. I mean, we have to move into the future anyways, but at least Tekken still holds on to the legacy and that like belief of like, okay, this is the core of what Tekken is, even if we make changes. Some people don't think Tekken's the way it is now because there's no tech traps where you can't pick people up easily for back rolling. But it's still super Tekken, still super hype, and that change was an awesome, meaningful change because as much as we like being in control of the match from start to finish, it allows people to kind of re-engage back into the match in a way that really let people in. Like if you've ever been trying to, if you, I can imagine you trying to pick up Tekken 5 and someone's like, yeah, I play Nina, and they're just literally, and you don't even understand the game, and they're picking you up off the ground, smacking you on the ground, picking you back up. You're gonna be like confused, like what's happening? What is this?
I remember, bro. I'll be like, how do I screw attack? Oh my god.
Ahmed, you inspired me with that because I've been sitting here taking notes and like extrapolating on like my thoughts based on like some of the things you've been saying here this whole time. Hence why I've been looking so serious. Like, you know,
I'm sorry,
you
phone's on.
no, you're good.
Stomach.
You know, like with Quell, like you had mentioned something about like the changes and everything, and Ahmed had talked about like older players like Jop leaving. It's to me any change that's going to be made is going to ostracize an older player because it's different from what they know. It's different from their experiences that they treasure. It's different, and people just don't deal with change very well. It's just by nature. Most people are they're uncomfortable being uncomfortable. There are very few individuals, whether through experiences, through practice, or just by nature, are uncomfortable. Or, I'm sorry, are comfortable in the uncomfortable. So any change is going to ostracize these players. So any change that's made, I think this is where we kind of misconstrue it as trying to make it easier for players to gain entry into the game. But any change that's made has to attract two players for every one that it sends away.
Mm.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like
that way you have constant growth in mind. You're constantly replenishing what you're getting rid, but you're also there has to be that in some cases that's why they look at like what is it that has turned people off from the game, and just by human nature alone, things that we don't understand, and there are just people who by nature they can't be a part of reality, or maybe they just can't grow. There are certain things that hold them back. How do you appeal to those people? You have to make this game fun in some way, and that's where if you look at each Tekken, there's something different every time. Tekken 1, we have Tekken. It's Tekken.
Yep.
Tekken 2, we bring in Bruce. Well, we already had did we have no? Bruce was brought in during Tekken 2. We had Armor King during Tekken 1, but he was bullshit during Tekken 2, and Bruce was bullshit. So what did Tekken 2 introduce? Bullshit. All right, so
Oh, wow.
bullshit was introduced. People were like, "Oh, this is bullshit. This is fun," but there are other people who are like, "Ah, this isn't Tekken." I played Tekken 1. It's like, shut up, you played Nina, so you had an infinite. Shut up. Or you played Yoshi. You had an 100% combo. Go to hell. Like, bullshit. Tekken 3, we had infinites. Jin could cancel down forward. I think it was down forward 1-2 or something like that. He can cancel and just went, huh, huh. Again, more bullshit. More and more bullshit. Tag comes in. And first off, Tekken 3 was also, while there was bullshit, it was still oddly competitively balanced. But tag really kind of it applied to the fan base because it was just like, look, the dream match. Because that was also around the time where like King of Fighters was real big, and one of the things that was so successful with King of Fighters was you could play everybody. So now you can play Tag 1. There's been 3 Tekkens. You can play all of them together. This is cool. Oh, let's sprinkle another character or two here or there. And then, because it was Tag 1, it was easy. Just, here's a character, and it's going to be a combination of all the characters. Yay! And then we'll make another version of him with a couple of unique moves. Yay! That was it. Then we go to Tekken 4. What does Tekken 4 introduce? Walls. And a lot of stuff, but walls. Tekken 5.
Yeah.
What do we have?
See,
What you said, the crush system. I'm sorry, go ahead, Quell.
Yeah.
no, I was saying, with Tekken 4, there were ceilings too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You are not wrong. That is absolutely correct. Oh my god, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, son, 4 squares.
That's
Playing
right.
4
I actually would want that stage back. The underground garage or parking lot.
Yeah.
I would want that stage back.
With the are we talking about the parking garage stage?
Yeah, parking garage. Yeah.
To be honest, I love all of them. I love the underground stage where Tekken in a booth. You playing Tekken in a phone booth, okay? and playing a big character, I'm just like, I'm already in a phone booth. But like the Shinjuku stage where you had the breakable bus, the bus terminal that you could break, and the only thing I liked about the airport stage was the music. I liked the slopes on the jungle stage. What was the stage? You were inside. I guess it was like fountain or something like that. But like there was like a staircase, and there were columns all throughout it. Like you were inside.
Oh,
that was the stage.
I didn't like that stage.
I love.
For some reason, I think of that stage. I think of losing to Nina.
That be honest, that's me when I think of Tekken 4.
Hey, while we on it, I just want to say like things I want back. Like y'all talking about like ceilings and terminals and breakaway buses. I got here in Tag 2. I want every Tekken till I'm done with Tekken to have Snoop Dogg in there somewhere.
There we go. Let's go. Or at least have T-Pain cosplaying. Because that's what Tekken 7 Fade Retribution brought us, was T-Pain cosplaying Leroy. That was one of the best parts of my life. I loved it. He did everything. When he was dancing, I was just like, I'm done.
But I still remember feeling when I heard Snoop Dogg for Tekken 6 being like, damn it, you spent money on Snoop instead of netcode, instead of like anything. Like I was actually disappointed for a bit, and then I got over it. But I was disappointed at first. I was like, oh, like because I literally at that point just saw money. I was like, so they paid Snoop instead of, and
I'm glad they did though, because it just waited a few years until technology got even better. So ended up being a good play in the long run.
oh yeah, always their marketing. I think the only marketing they messed up, like in Tekken 7, they should have released. They need to release Negan as a guest character like season 1. Like they literally released Negan at like the lowest point of Walking Dead. Like it still had to like, oh crap, it's Negan. But it was not when he came out. It was when people were like, "Oh, the series is going down." It was weird. It was a weird spot. Like, because I was a Walking Dead fan, and I was kind of like, "Damn, this is like after the hype. Like, this should have been like in line with it. That would have been like so much more hype."
So, spoiler alert, Walking Dead fans, tune away for just the next 30 seconds. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds before I go on.
What are you about to do?
Was this after Rick, he had got his ass busted and he was basically in capture with Rick?
Yeah, I think so.
Where Rick,
Oh no! This is before then. Before then.
Okay, so it hadn't gotten that point yet.
No. I think that's when they released. I mean, Negan came out in Tekken. I think when Negan came out in Tekken, they were at the point where they had gotten past, they'd beaten Negan, and he was like, yeah, I think it was that weird spot where, like,
Oh, that's
right
so
after like they had beaten Negan.
climactic. So it's almost in a way that's
Yeah,
like for like a Walking Dead fan, it's just like really, but for like a Tekken fan, it's like, what's going on? I better go watch Walking Dead right now.
yeah,
Hold on. Let me tag that real quick. If we had waited, like while Negan was still in his hype, we wouldn't have like Negan with all the quotes, like how he got in the game though. Like he had to like
yeah.
develop all the way as a character within the show for us to have
Oh, you're so
like
right.
You're right.
all of the Negan that we have now. So it's almost like they would shoot themselves in the foot with just base Negan.
You are so right. That explains a lot. With like when you look at Mortal Kombat, they're not. I mean, are they bringing marketing for newer movies? No, they're bringing stuff for reboots. Like, oh, everyone loves Predator. Everyone loves Alien. Everyone loves the Planet Hollywood crew. Like the only thing missing at this point is I'm saying Johnny Cage, Jean Claude Van Damme, but Johnny Cage is already in the game, so you don't gotta
Yeah,
do
he's
shit.
already.
They released a Tekken pack that actually has the
The
not
actor,
Tekken pack,
the Mortal
Awesome
Kombat,
pack that has like original Raiden and Sonya and
the original
who's the
Johnny
other one?
Cage actor. It was the original Johnny Cage
Yeah,
actor. I thought that was so cool. It was like yo, I can play Christopher Lloyd.
and they voice acted too.
That's
Oh
fucking awesome.
wow,
That is so
Yeah,
cool.
yo, Ed Boon, like if Tekken, I'm telling you right now, Ed, I know you're making good money at NetherRealms. Find a way to work a deal into your contract with them where you can be a consultant for other games. Oh my god, could you imagine if like Tekken brought Ed Boon in and he was just and they were like, "What should we do?" And he's like, "What do your fans want?" And they're like, "We don't know." And he's like, "Find out." And then all
yeah.
of a sudden Tekken comes out and it's just like,
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
"Hey guys,
whoa! Hold on, hold on, because I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Because Michael Murray gonna be like, he trying to take my job. He trying to get me fired on this little podcast he got.
no,
He said,
Mike,
man, that's
Mike, good,
Murray
Mike,
job,
Mike's
bro.
good, Mike's good. Listen,
He good?
Mike's good
Yeah,
right
Mike plays his
now.
role perfect. I think Michael Murray plays his role. I mean, he might have had the little missteps on social media, but who doesn't when you're playing on such a toxic environment? Uh, I think he's good in his position. I think he's exactly where he needs to be for us as a tech.
Oh, so that's not Mike's job is deciding what I don't know what a producer does. I play
Listen,
guitar. I don't know
listen,
what
I'm gonna tell you this: like Harada and Murray play their roles perfectly, like Jade and Ivory. Okay, like they're like Harada being where he's at now, and just like
yeah.
everything with what Michael Murray does. Whenever Harada's ready to retire, Michael Murray has like a good 10 years that he can do, like 10 to 12 years that he could probably step into that role and kill it.
Yeah.
Like very outside of Ed Boon, like those two and Ed Boon, those are like the only three people like in terms of like producers that I trust. They're the
Isn't it
Easy.
crazy?
it
Sorry,
Absolutely.
blows my
isn't
mind.
it crazy? Oh, sorry. No.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm saying it blows my. Oh, and the guy. I can't remember his name, but he's with Akira right now. He was one of the original Street Fighter folks, but he's the main guy who does EX Fighting Layer or Fighting EX Layer.
Yeah, I
I
know you're.
forgot. Forgot.
The bald that
Mm.
dude's a G. Like he was so cool. It was so cool watching. Ahmed, you probably know this one. It was a Netflix show, I think, where they talked about it, and they showed like where he got his inspirations from. Like they actually showed like the inspiration for the Honda Bath stage and the Thai and Sagat's stage. There's a Netflix show.
I don't know if I saw that.
Oh, I'm gonna give them a free plug on my four viewers or whatever it is, but it is what it is. Y'all should be grateful for that.
No. I think what it. I was gonna say is that watching that, like, going back to the when all the developers met for that online,
Oh,
like, I don't know,
the Japanese JP,
the,
whatever the acronym was.
yeah, it was like basically all the Japanese developers getting together and talking with one another, which was amazing. And the fact that that happened, and like seeing how much they respected Harada and looked up to him, and how he's kind of like their trailblazer. Like they look to him and go, "Oh, okay," and like he's gonna make SNK and the King of Fighters people go, okay, well if Harada does it, I guess I have to have rollback. Like he's really his innovation is finally pushing to other places that I didn't expect. Like this is crazy. That Tekken went there. Like from when I guess I just remember the dark days of Tekken when we were kind of like the bastard stepchild at like big tournaments. It was all about what Street Fighter was doing, and then now it's like Harada's like leading the pack. Like if Street Fighter Six doesn't come out in a May, because not to go on a brand with Street Fighter, but I think I'm kind of this. I have this feeling with Street Fighter. I'm kind of sick of them being substandard somewhat, and some like they used to be innovators in the scene, and I want them to do it again. I want to look at the next Street Fighter, and I want to feel, oh, this is Capcom, some of the greatest animators and animation studio and that's ever for fighting games. This is why we play this game. Like, wow, I want to see Ryu and Ken and be like, wow, not oh, what okay, you know. So I really hope that Ono, whatever he did with Street Fighter Six, I respect Ono a lot. He did a lot for. I mean, he did way more than we could ever even imagine for that scene and for just fighting games in general. Like him resurrecting Street Fighter Four, but it's kind of sad that like he kind of took that area and then kind of went got to like knowing that all these bad decisions were all his kind of puts a weird spin when I think of Ono now because it's like, oh, Ono, the guy that like kind of saved, revitalized the fighting game community, brought us back from the dark ages, is also the guy that decided, hey, let's put all the DLC on the disc. He's also decided that esports were but esports is important, which is good, so he pushed that. But then he's also the one that esports you know I feel like he has this thing where he pushes his own. He looks at the community for what they want, but then he decides to push something that he wants super hard, almost to the detriment of the community, where he kind of goes, no, 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 you guys want this. And it's like, no, listen to what your community is saying. Oh, no, don't just, you listen to them, but then don't just, put things on them. Like how he did with the whole, I guess with Street Fighter 6, the whole, the rumor is that they overdid the team aspect. And I'm just imagining some weird thing where Ono's like, no one likes to lose, so how about it's like dependent on a team and like tries to make like a fighting game a team thing. And so I'm glad that they're fixing that.
Ooh,
And
that's interesting.
yeah, just yeah,
Making it a team thing because that's kind of. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we you and
yeah.
I know you and I have talked about this ad nauseum about um, what is it that makes games like League of Legends so much more popular than Tekken, and you and I, we're I don't want to say we're pessimists of human nature. I think it's the fact of the matter is that we're realists. Is that by nature, again, I hate to be a broken record. I mentioned earlier about being comfortable in the uncomfortable. The reason they call it uncomfortable is that it's uncomfortable. It's not comfortable, and by nature, you're going to avoid that. So people are going to avoid those situations, and just and Ono, I think, was very attuned to that. Like, what is it that people are running away from? Which, to me, is incredibly intelligent when you're attempting to build a new base. And I'm not going to get on a political soapbox here. I'm just going to point at some factual analysis. Let's look at the state of Georgia and the work that Stacey Abrams did with registering 800,000 new voters. So, you bring in a whole new demographic and you just bring them into the system, you've got to make sure you appeal to them. So, but at the same time, you can't appeal to them at the detriment of appealing to the previous base. And that's why I said what I said earlier about, for every change you make that ostracizes an older player, it has to attract two newer players. Yeah, so that was one thing that, and also just for those that were interested, Nishitani, the dude who was a designer for Street Fighter Two and Final Fight. He was a game analyst for 1942, a designer for Forgotten Worlds, a planner for Final Fight, a planner and illustrator for Street Fighter Two. My man also worked on one of the best wrestling games of all time, Saturday Night Slam Masters,
Yeah.
Magic Sword, Warriors of Fate, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Let's go. And then he was the director for Varth, Operation Thunderstorm, never heard of it. Planner for X-Men Children of the Atom, iconic. Executive producer for Street Fighter EX, director for Street Fighter EX2, and executive producer for Street Fighter EX3 when he was at Capcom. And then he left to form the company Akira Yeah, my man's name is Akira Nishitani. So just wanted to make sure we touched on that. But
Crazy. The innovation there, man.
right,
Capcom used to do. Remember when I first saw Children of the Atom? How like, oh my god, like X-Men sprites. Why do they look better than the animated series? Why does I remember feeling that like like watching the characters in X-Men Children of the Atom was better than the animated series. It's like seriously, like it was like this is amazing. I just want
the
Wolverine to do
suit.
this,
Yeah, like,
and I want
Children of
Capcom
Atom
to do that again.
Barrage. Weapon
Oh,
X. Like
Sentinel, I was like, Sentinel looked cool for once. I'd never loved Sentinel's look until I saw him in the game, and I'm like, that. If Sentinel looks like that, yeah, I'm down with Sentinel. They and then just the flair of the characters is just just that's the kind of thing I want Capcom to get back to on Capcom.
so there's the Netflix show, the Netflix documentary I was looking at was called High Score. I
Oh, I score.
Oh my god, episode 5 is where they get to fighting games. I'm t-
Okay, I saw this. I saw the high score thing. I thought that was all about just old. Like I never got to
it's
watch it.
watch it. It's awesome. Just watch it from start to finish. I think it's only 6 episodes. It is gamer feels every sense of the way. But
I'll check.
you know, but Quell though, what part of you're kind of like that. We talked earlier about Evan being a bridge, but you yourself are a bridge. Because you have this. You're at where I was about. I don't want to talk about how long ago that was, but where you're, where
With
you,
your old legs.
there's a 10-year spread from 25 to 35 that you might be in. but
No,
where
no, go ahead, gas me up. Go
but
ahead.
yeah,
What?
but you where not only do you have the patience of somebody with the experiences that you've had, but at the same time you're still able to not so much commiserate but understand what a younger person what would appeal to a younger person, what a younger person needs.
Yeah.
You're in that sweet spot right now. I'm gonna let you know right now, hey y'all, your late teens, early 20s ain't shit. You know when the limelight is? Mid 20s to early 30s. That junk is magical.
Yeah.
Late 20s to like mid 20s to early 30s is a special time. That I will take that any day of the week, and that's exactly where you're at right now, Quell. Where you can bridge you can bridge the people like me, where even if we're like approachable and we do things okay, like in the end, like a 21-year-old kid's gonna look at me and go like, yeah, bro, like you're literally old enough to be my teenage dad. I'm not gonna take advice from you. Like you you can
Yeah.
but what is it that you think is going to be something that is going to appeal to that's not going to lose too many people like Ahmed and myself, but it's going to bring in this younger generation. And I mean, you of all people
Oh,
should definitely know, knowing how often you have to come unlock doors for people with your current position.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I don't like using keys. I hate you. Just use keys.
With regards to what fighting games, Tekken 8, Tekken in the future.
Definitely both. I would definitely love to hear what you think about both.
Um, what could bring them in or make it more appealing?
Whichever,
Gee.
whatever you think would be better. Really, like just
Yeah.
what do you think that the younger generation, without losing, like with that's going to attract the younger generation while exciting your generation without
Yeah.
losing Ahmed's generation? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Bet. So, oh my God, I love my answer.
I'm
So,
excited.
I would I would say it's a lot less to do with the introduction of any new elements. I feel like if they took everything that they've brought with Tekken 7 vanilla all the way up till the most recent patch 4.01, if they took all of that and put it in the Tekken 8,
But before they released Tekken 8 and put that shit out even as a demo for people, they did exactly what they did for season 2's or bleh, season 4's netcode testing. They brought in pros, former pros, um, content creators. They reach out to the people that have brought their game to the height that it has in order for them to hit 6 million plus sales of Tekken 7. And they ask, and then exactly how I do with you. Me and you are the example. When you go off and you're so passionate and you're like, oh man, I had carpal tunnel at Six Flags and I got kidnapped south of the border. And I go, hey Josh, remember we was talking about that other shit? And you go, yeah, I need I to bring new people in and younger people in, they gotta reach out. The developers have to go, hey, you put on our tournaments, Larry, and all these other people. You make this happen, Rick, and all y'all. So help us help us to bridge the gap. I won't say I need. I would say the best way to make it more appealing to the younger people is that it's already going to be appealing to the younger people because everybody's already into it. It's almost like what's the new cool and hip thing to do? What are the older kids doing? You guys are the older kids. I'm going to be the older kids. And if the developers of a game that I love dearly and want to contribute to the community of that, if the developers are just as in tune with what brings me joy and what I want to see, if they're in tune with it, then the people that I tell about it and hear about it and are blessed to be interacted with or to come across with, then they're gonna latch on. Because I like that you highlighted one thing. You said younger kids. One of my good buddies, he's the grandson of Mama Kim's. That's a local restaurant down here in Charleston, South Carolina. This dude
Yo,
just
shout out to
had
Mama. If shout outs to her nephew too. I loved Kim's. I just wish he didn't have as many DUIs as he did to had to sell the restaurant out in West Ashland. I'm
oh,
not trying to put his business out there.
oh Lord, it's
Yo,
out there. But no,
yo, he was
It's,
but
Korean
no,
He was
it's
the
out.
best Korean barbecue in the area. Like there hasn't been anything similar since.
but no, no, her grandson, this dude, Brandon, shouts out to Brandon. This dude just had he just had like some surgery going on or whatever.
Oh,
And
get well soon.
before he had surgery, he was like, "Yo, I got something to do while I'm laid up for 6 months." I was like, "What's up?" He said, "I got Tekken 7 for VR because you kept like talking about it." I was like, "Excuse me?" So to me, like younger people getting into Tekken and new people in general getting into Tekken are the same thing. Like people are gonna run into this thing. And as long as developers are tuned in to the people that make the game what it is, be it locals, majors, minors, regionals, content that people see online, as long as they reach out and they plug in, see what's up, then it's gonna be all right for generations to come. Does that answer?
Yeah,
That's an
yeah.
incredible answer,
Enthusiasm
and
is contagious.
yeah, I mean I loved how it applies to like the passion, and
Yeah.
this is something else that you mentioned there. And I don't want to make this boring for people, but this is something to understand. It's important to at least understand from a business perspective. And Ahmed, you could probably definitely you know commiserate with some of this and understand where I'm coming from with some of this. Where you know I love what you said there, Quell, when you were talking about um, there was something particular about how it had to appeal to we were talking about how to make it appeal to everybody. Um, it was right before you started talking about Brandon and his surgery.
You talk about how he said it has to appeal to like it's get to appeal to everyone. It's got to reach out and put the kind of ball in their court. Is that part where it's like
Was it
or
the
part
part
after?
of was it the part of gathering everything that they put in from Tekken Vanilla to uh, season 4 coming out and all encompassing that?
No, it had something to do with like with what's people were gonna. I think it has something to do with definitely like people were gonna love the game. And oh, I remember now. I'm sorry. It had to do with bringing in all the different walks of life that are going to appreciate the game. And Ahmed and I, we come from a generation where we would regularly ask like, why isn't why don't you like you can literally see tournament results of people who understand your game. Like, how do you not bring them in and pick their brain? And then
Yeah.
as we get older, we start to understand like, you know, in fact, looking at Tekken 5, that's the way that Tekken 5.0 was the way that it was. And people listen. I welcome a slander lawsuit because I can go get receipts. But Tekken 5.0 was the way that it was because the players demoed it and because certain things weren't reported to the developers, such as how stupid up forward one from Nina was in combos. And then lo and behold, 2 weeks into the goddamn game, or 2 weeks into Nina being released, which by the way, it was only 2 weeks into Nina being released because she was on random select for the first week, and then you had a week of playing her. All of a sudden, we had all these perfect Oki 50-50 combos. Well, come to find out, when they play tested that son bitch at Evo, Tom Hilfiger found that shit out. And then what did Tom Hilfiger do throughout 5.0? He fucked people up with up forward one combos. What also happened? Craig Mardick did 50% off of a ground throw into hop kick air throw. And so that got,
shit.
yeah. So I was super excited about that. And then that got fixed real quick before it ever came out. Ahmed, to give you an idea, the shit was literally left ground throw, hop kick. I'm sorry, no, any ground throw because Tekken 5 was the relaunch ground throw every time. So it was ground throw, hop kick, air throw. And that shit was like 40% on its own because it was just raw.
That is so Unga. That is Unga's.
That's why he has. That's why they gave him the forward 1+2 and the 1+3 air throw because the 2+4 air throw was doing forward 1+2 air throw damage. That shit got found out. Oh, and the other terrifying bit was that he got a free ground throw attempt off of clean hit full crouch down forward 4, not counter hit, clean hit. And then people were like, "Oh, I can ground throw off clean hit and then hop kick air throw, and it's half their life." And then Bamco was like, "Yeah, no, you can't do that when it comes out."
but that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, and I'm not saying for like developers to reach out to people that's OD and like
Maybe people that aren't like financially invested into it currently in terms of getting victories.
no,
Okay, I can see that's
not
fair.
I think that was a product of the times though, because you got to think back then, like that was like back when people used to actually hide tech. It wasn't like nowadays you get views and things for showing tech. So I feel like
Less
if
save that
like
shit
old
for
school players,
nationals, less more show that shit for the clout.
yeah, that's exactly it.
yeah.
I think it's a change in the kind of like the online presence of how people operate with things now. If there because there's no like that overarching like I have to win, to that cost. Like people are competitive, don't get me wrong, but they're not competitive or they don't treat the competition that way. And it might not even be just pure, altruism and they just want to be, oh, I just a better person. It's more like it's hard to be that effective now, considering what you get for the clout and like what reward you get. Oh, you hit some tech in your character. Nowadays, there's patches, so how long will it even last? Even if you let it get to the game. So it's kind of like it doesn't really work out for you to kind of like try to hide something that's busted. It's gonna get found out, and now with the rate of sharing information on Tekken, it'll be found out so quick now. We now know about Pakistan, so Pakistan will release a video like day one of whatever you hide. Like so
But like everything that both of y'all are saying is going, it's kind of going in line, but it's also kind of diving into the competitive and how can I use this to whoop shit out of people like sort of thing. But it I'm gonna bring it back to not so much balance, but how to innovate, how to innovate forward, if that makes sense. How to innovate forward. So say they put the dude, who's the dude that they had on like what was it, Tekken Advance or something, that you were so sure they was gonna put in the game? Rodeo.
Yeah, Tekken Revolution. I want rodeo.
Yeah,
Oh God.
yeah. What I'm saying is, like, what if they pulled, yo, we for sure gonna get Bruce Irving, Josie Rizal. It's wow, in your mouth. You ain't gonna never see Bruce again. Like, what if they did that with Rodeo, but revamped him into something completely different? Like, I'm saying they gotta innovate forward and talk to the people that are producing their game, like on a everybody can see it platform, and then know how to do that. Like it's not even in the realm of, yo, what's busted. Does that make sense?
No, it makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Because
That's all I was.
because and it's I guess that's kind of maybe the danger where, and Ahmed, you and I talk about this a lot. Sometimes and going for the mix up, don't mix yourself up. So in this case they have to innovate, but don't mix yourself up by guessing on what people are going to want. Go based off of what they're reacting to currently.
Bam. And see, that can be achieved like mega easy. Like how stoked somebody, like, not main man, because I think he was included, but like just like, I don't know, hit up Knee, or just somebody notable that like creates content, or I love HQ Rubbish. Like, she's incredible. But then again, that's Akuma. That's a whole different story. I ain't gonna bug y'all because
I'm gonna go
y'all
look
old
her up now.
heads.
Just to I'm all
HQ
about
Rubbish.
HQ Ropes. I'm all about looking up different people. I
Not the
love
Shouts out.
side
new
track,
talent.
but I'm
I
really
love
sad about the way that the community has Akuma. I feel like we were so raving over like the fact that they effectively did a truest, like, Akuma in Tekken to me is the most true like guest character there's ever been. Like, he literally
Yeah.
brought his system to the game, and Sans, like, okay, you could say like, okay, this death combo, this or that. He pretty much functions in our like, overall, besides some adjustments, he functions in the game correctly, not overbearingly. Like, you could make some adjustments for characters to deal with some of the stuff, but it's crazy enough that someone that doesn't play Tekken who plays Akuma and like just plays Akuma or plays familiar Street Fighter can pick up Akuma in Tekken and like immediately start doing things and be like, oh, this feels natural, and like pulling off, and like, that is, how can you ever, like, what, like, it'd be like, are you like how, I don't know how else to, like, that innovation is so much. And it just really sucks that like the oversaturation, oh, the death combos, oh, he's broken, oh, the Tekken community hates Akuma, and it's like, god damn it, like, god damn it,
Yeah,
god
but
damn it. Akuma's one of my favorite characters, just as a character in general, just in the ethos, you know, fighting game characters, and it was just really sad to see that people aren't like, they really have this weird kind of like, he doesn't belong in this game, and it's like, god damn it, like, that's not the attitude I think we should have going forward. Like, I feel like that was a good bridge gap, and I wanted to see something even more of that in Tekken 8, maybe, where we could really bridge some gaps, some, maybe another archetype that if they could figure out how to put it in the Tekken. So you have Akuma doing his thing, and then maybe they figure out how to get like a Zangief or someone other, I don't know, maybe
but
not, maybe,
whoa,
no, maybe
whoa,
not
hold
Zangief,
on,
just another
hold on,
character to in a game that's popular.
Ahmed. But that's what I'm saying. How, like, 90%, if not 95% of the entire Tekken community has been salivating at the thought of Tekken Cross Street Fighter. Please correct me. Am I wrong?
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie to you. I I don't need Viagra when I think about the possibility of an
But, yeah,
Abel and
so
Marduk team again, but like this time in a
yeah,
Tekken
so
setting where I can apply what I want, where the tornado throw is going to be a command throw from Abel, and I'm still going to have Marduk tackle, but like the Marduk tackle in the Tekken universe, not the Street Fighter tackle.
Oh my God. Okay, stop. You're gonna bust on the camera. Now, here, here's what exactly. But what I'm getting at is out the gate, they put one Street Fighter character into Tekken 7, and then some dude start putting out death combo videos, and everybody took a shit in the bed. Like almost at the same time. So it's like, how you gonna want Street Fighter in its true form, as true as it can get in relation to Tekken, into Tekken, and then not be with it? Wait, so everything you said about wanting cross Street Fighter is now stupid? You tell me. Like, you can't want and then get mad when you got what you want.
You're
Yeah,
right.
I think that what
Exactly.
people. Oh, sorry, I didn't interrupt.
No,
I
I
thought you
was
were
No,
I
no,
was
done.
just saying
no,
you're
you
you're
good. No,
you're
you
right.
good. Go
I'm
for it.
sorry. I'm interrupting. I'm gonna go pee so
No,
I
you
don't
good.
interrupt anymore.
Okay, there you go. But no, you started, Ahmed. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that another thing I think that people reacted negatively to Akuma so much is kind of because of the he actually does operate kind of like a Street Fighter Five character, and maybe that might not have been the way that they should have looked at his design. Like that whole like Street Fighter has a thing with like you get your meter, you earn it. Now this is your comeback, right? But like Tekken has always operated in a game where like you can make a seemingly minuscule mistake at the beginning of the match and then fucking get lose like 80% of your life. Like wrong launch, perfect launch wall. I mean they've adjusted wall damage and other stuff now, but I'm just saying that like you didn't need meter to be scary in Tekken. So they gave
Yeah.
a character to play Tekken and then gave him meter too. So then he has like this extra damage thing that they probably should have adjusted and kind of figured out a little in a different way. I don't know. He's a complicated character, but I like his. I look at his intention and more than anything else, and what he's doing and how he functions and how he players that like I said don't even play Tekken. Like when Punko was playing and was like doing stuff and like fighting Tekken players, and then like I was like, this is insane. Like this is the kind of crossover Tekken to me in Tekken 8 I want to see. I want Daigo playing our game. I want 2D players to feel like, hey, it's worth it to put some time into Tekken. And I don't have to start from the ground up because that's why we're gonna get new players and new things in the next Tekken. But like crossover between games is hard, especially Tekken. Its legacy heavy thing is that's probably the only detriment to like crossover between scenes as much. But I don't know. Sonic Fox is breaking a new generation of like people
I
playing
was
multiple
just
games,
thinking. I was just about to say Sonic Fox, bro. Like
and like
I
he's really
like
showing
Sonic.
people that like you can play multiple games. And I mean, he might be a fighting game genius in himself, but it's encouraging people. It's kind of like, hey, maybe you know, maybe play other different games and learn strategies from other games that you can apply to your main, or you might even find a new main somehow. Not to put away from per se
Yeah,
Tekken, but I want the fighting game community to be enthralled. I'd rather have someone that plays Tekken and maybe not take it as their most serious game, but they play it but they play it in addition to another game because of how the crossover in our community is working. I want that more than like a dedicated Tekken player only plays Tekken, like because
yeah.
there's a lot
But
less of this.
see what I'm saying? Like it really almost. Oh, this is the word. I don't care if it like starts fires. Like it almost makes your game like incestuous. Like you jerking off your game like so much. Like, oh, this is Tekken. Yeah, this is that real Tekken. Do it slow and shit. You see what I'm saying? But like what was I about to say? Yeah, so I brought up HQ Rubbish before. She does breakdowns basically on Akuma and what works, why it works, and 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 just the principle behind it. Not even in relation to Street Fighter, just strictly in Tekken. It's pretty like dope. But one of the videos that she did, um, she she touched on because she did a whole analysis across multiple major tournaments, um, of just how often death combos were even executed and
happened in tournament, and death combos just in particular happened way less than 10%. I think it was like 0.0 something percent in tournament that death combos actually happen. So when people like shit the bed over, oh man, this is in my game, this death combo and shit. They don't even realize that you gotta be about to lose and have full meter and possibly no floors or walls broken in the stage in order to execute such a thing. So just speaking in reference to that hypothetical Tekken player, if you are as good as you should be aiming to be at the game, you should have done killed that hypothetical Akuma player. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I'm just a dude.
No, no, I agree. I agree. I see that point. I saw people bring up that point with like how much it doesn't really happen as much, but I think it's just the nature of how it happens because it's no matter how and like you also have to take into account. I don't know if like the people that I'm not on the side to try to say Akuma's like oh my god, but I guess there's parts of like well even if it's not a death combo, he still can like do like a crazy over 50% pretty consistently like big holy crap damages off things that just are so like I think the biggest thing is like when people look and like okay this is happening off of like a jab a crouching jab like something
Yeah,
that like it's kind of weird to kind of look at Akuma and go he has something that he can hit me with that can kill me but like
yeah,
I can't punish him in any way that would kill him for doing that per
yeah,
se. Really, realistically, like there's not a realistic easy like you do that crouching jab and you die. But it's like and not many moves in Tekken kind of work that way that are so minimal risk but like explode on you. There's usually
yeah,
something you can do to like kind of step on the move. Like even let's say like what people consider, which I would say is the best launch in the game, electrics. They're awesome, amazing, hit from everywhere. You know, even have better tracking now, so much damage. But guess what? You can duck them, right?
yep,
You know, hop kicks are amazing. They, you know, you get half life or not half life, but you know, almost half life or a wall or something, and only like you know, jab punishable on block. But you know, you can make it with, and like there's, but like try punishing a whiff crouching jab easily into whatever you know, like it's like I said, it's a weird function, and I think
yeah.
that's what getting people.
But what I'm saying is like going back to like people wanting Street Fighter. Like let's go Street Fighter Five. Which Street Fighter Five character doesn't have meter?
Yeah.
So how far does your argument go when you, dude, man, I want Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Okay, if you if you hold on, I'm about to get him. I'm about to get him. If you are a King player and you going up against a Rufus and he got 2 bars of meter and he does some shit that you've never seen before that only 2 Pakistani guys know about and kills you, are you gonna be mad just as mad as you was a Kuma, or are you gonna be happy you got Tekken Cross Street Fighter? Because you can't be both.
I think that the answer to fix this would be to make sure that next, if, like they could do a Street Fighter X Tekken, I think, and I think if people felt that their characters, because a lot of people, even if it's not true, feel like they can't fight against Akuma's kind of gimmick stuff either. Like they don't feel their characters. Some characters have easy answers to Akuma stuff if they make the read. Other characters like I have to take like this kind of weird risk, and I think if they kind of look at like now that they have a jumping character, go okay, I got to look across the character, move characters, and make sure that characters have ways so that your basic offense doesn't just overall get jumped over. Because there's some characters where he jumps over stuff,
Yeah,
you're like, no one else can avoid this but you, Akuma, and I don't have an answer for you when you jump over this. And like that can be a little frustrating. I mean, most characters actually have some option. I don't think there's anyone that has like no options, but like, you know, there's a big difference between having like a being able to like take a character like King. King's amazing against Akuma, and so is Noctis. You know, he can
yeah,
just top kick Akuma mid air and get a full combo. And Noctis is like, I have anti airs all day. I'm a weird character.
yeah. But he's a guest, so there's still people complaining about him. But like, no. But what I was about to say was that almost that's almost a blessing within that observation. Feel me on this. So,
Hmm.
like, let's go Punk, the Street Fighter dude. Who's he fucking play? Not Punk, not
Yeah,
Punk. Smug. Let's go
Um,
Smug.
uh, he plays a Balrog, but
Yeah,
he was known.
Smug. A nasty bar. I've seen him delete health bars. I love watching Smug. Shout out to Smug. But like what I'm getting at is I don't know who he's sponsored by, but I'm sure he's not just so sponsored that if Tekken were to go, yo, I want to, or not Tekken, if Bandai Namco were to go, yo, we want to develop Tekken Cross Street Fighter, let's reach
Mhm.
out to some Street Fighter people. And now Smug is like, all right, so this is how this can be fair with regards to what you got now, and then boom, 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 and help to balance the characters that he's so familiar with. And then this is also like assuming that Bandai Namco reaches out to all the people that play their game. You get the people again that make your game what it is and then create the best game, and that's going to bring everybody in. And sure, there's going to be people that's not happy with it, but there's also motherfuckers that just don't like to be happy in general, and
Yep.
so they just gonna be alright because they gotta have to be alright. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, no, no. It makes perfect sense. I think that I think if they bring in, I think if they use the community in a way where it's not. Because I think the only thing that be hesitant about that is that because people get weird stuff now. People, like there's terms like shill now and like so like
Uh,
you don't want to have a scenario where like a competitive player is like forwardly and too forwardly involved where they feel like he has an advantage. So long as they monitor that, where they interact with like the new player, like, player base that they reach out to, and make it in a way where like maybe you get this much information, or we pick your brain here, but then we kind of step back and go, okay, now we're gonna go to this other player so that you don't
yeah,
have all this info. Just make it so that it doesn't feel like the I don't know. I guess I don't mean to completely flip the script on you, but there's also this aspect to me that kind of goes like I always look at fighting games in a way that the developer gives you a game, right? And the game has these rules and they have it as design. And then it's
right,
your job as the player to interpret those designs and how they're going to function. Nowadays, games are more curated where the developers can basically make characters generally do what they expect them to do, but we
yeah,
always find something to break it and change it on them. It's not as we don't break or change our characters as bad as we have in the past with their games, but I feel like with that kind of thought process in mind, that we, I guess, be tempered or not full on just what we say we want, because you have to kind of give us something that we don't expect and kind of give us kind of like oh, that little spark, that little like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that, and that's really nice.
right,
um and I think they can do it. Like, I think that I would say that the one thing I would like to see is a return of a community manager that can really kind of help get that voice like that. I don't know if that how that position worked and how the community managers specifically communicated what the community was saying to the team, but just knowing what the community manager can do, and if in the way that developers are looking at the community now, I feel like if they tried that process again and hired a community manager, and this time they're like, all right, now we kind of know how to put our ear to the streets per se. So now we have a person that's his ear is to the streets of the game, and we're actually paying attention now, like the way that we could have when we did have it. Shout outs to I mean, not saying that they didn't pay attention to filter picture stuff. I know they work hard. I'm just saying like I feel like now with like their information, they could utilize a community manager better now with their
yeah,
growth than they could in the past. So now would be like the perfect time to have an amazing community manager to really bridge that gap of information, so that if there are going to bring new stuff to the table or things that that we want, both of those, they're doing it within the lens of what the community is saying, and not just kind of like you know uh kind of throwing things in the air, like or
yeah.
just kind of going over past things that are saying like they're current with what community wants, and
I love
that's the current.
love it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you actually didn't flip the script on me at all. Like you actually like broadened my sense of understanding, and I do appreciate that. Like that makes a whole lot more sense. That's well done. Well done.
So, real quick, just to let you know, there the I'm trying to have a good way to put this. So while the community manager experience for North American Tekken hasn't been great in the past. Um, I think a good way to put this. Um,
Namcops is watching. No, I'm kidding.
well, just in case they take a peek. Um, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a good way to put this. They currently have people in position in terms of community involvement that are a that are a part of the community. Not were a part, but are a part. And I think that that's incredibly beneficial to them. And I know that they've been receptive of input. I think that it would be beneficial, um, and this isn't based off of any relationship that I have with the individual or individuals, um, but it would definitely be in their best interest, um, on their social media interaction side at least, to maybe just give this individual or individuals the keys and just if they say post this. Um, and the reason I
Mm.
say that is mainly because the folks that are going to be interacting or incredibly interested in that social media stuff are the people that have already been a part of the original social media of the message boards and forums and all that on the internet. So, I mentioned earlier the example of Stacey Abrams getting new voters registered in Georgia. How do you get new users registered for Tekken? So, I think you go with an individual who understands the base and who's also had the exposure to the business side, so they get to see the different metrics that they see and understands the different goals that they have, and allow those folks to set expectations. That I think is something that's very important. Is rather than telling those bridges, like like I mentioned how earlier how Quell is a bridge for the community. If I were to go
Yeah.
to Quell and just be like, "Hey Quell, this is my plan as the older generation. You need to find a way to make this work for the newer generation." That's not a recipe for success.
Fair point.
Especially if what I want to do, Quell doesn't believe it. I'm like, hey, heads up, I'm eventually going to replace all Charleston players with like outsourced Atlanta players because they're more successful. You're going to be like, how is that going to help any of us?
Right.
And it's
Maybe they need a team then. Maybe instead of trying to put it on an individual, and
what's happening outside? Is there craziness
sorry,
out?
just like it was just one of those things where it's like either that was a tire screeching or someone screaming for life that
I've had
just
one of
ended.
those. By the way, just a heads up, we're gonna probably cut out in the next 3 minutes here. Poor Erica's been waiting to play Phasmophobia all night, and she even told me she's like, listen, uh, talking to Ahmed is a time warp.
It is.
You
It is. It
and
really is.
she's like, you remember what happened the last time I spoke to him? I'm like, I don't, because I fell asleep. And she was like, we talked for like 4 hours. I'm like, I believe it because that's what we do. It's like I'm sorry, five. She's just corrected me. It was five, and it's just like
Okay.
I got him and Quell. She just went, oh shit.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wait. Josh.
Yes,
Josh.
sir.
Let
Yes,
me
sir.
Well, is this like talk radio where in the last 3 minutes we like give our plugs and social media handles?
Bro, you already know because yes, yes, because I want to make sure that while we are talking about things, that whatever y'all have that is important, even if you've said something about it like during the whole casting, like you still get to like plug it because like we're gonna have to we're gonna plug the social medias if you got them,
Yeah.
like. But I especially want you to plug your band, sir. That was something that I really wanted to make sure we touched on tonight. Was like I want to talk to you more about that and just like hear more about your experiences. So we're gonna definitely have to talk. We're gonna have to get you both
We'll
on
do it on
again.
next one. Hey,
We're
you
gonna have
like
to do
me?
again here the next like with before the end of February. I definitely want to get you both on again and just have a
All right,
continuation because this has been so much fun.
we'll do.
Yeah.
I miss this. I'm so glad to get to talk to y'all again. But
It's
you know
been
what?
wonderful.
I hate to put a hard stop on it. Let me.
It's
You know what? We're gonna Ahmed. You get like. Let's get your parting words. Get your parting thoughts. You got anything you want to plug? Any words of wisdom? Any social media? Whatever you want to do. Now's the time. Once you're good, throw that to Quell. Quell. Make sure you talk about your band. I'm loving what y'all are doing. Y'all look
all right.
great. And then we're gonna have to call it a night.
Yeah. I just thank you for having me on. I know we kind of rambled on, but I think that's kind of what the point was just kind of having a chit chat about a lot of different things. I love hearing new perspectives from new players. Like talking to Quell, just that connection, that bridge gap. It gives you kind of a sense of uh, I don't know, a sense of how big it is, of how large Tekken is, how it bridges generation and people's experience. Uh, and it's just I love it all. So yeah, I look forward to future talks. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. I guess if I had to do a tidbit, we got to get into like tournament stories. Oh shit, I have stories. I have stories about Tom Hilfiger. Hilfiger that people are like, what that guy? Yeah. I have stories about, well, not stories. I have a story about him. Stories of Quadon's, like a lot of, traveled a lot. Oh, I don't know about the Don story. That's a little. I don't know if I could put that on stream. I don't
No,
know if I
no,
could put that
we
on.
won't do that. We won't do that. We won't do that.
I don't know if I can put that on
That's
stream.
that's something for a when before the next stream you have to tell Quell that story before we start the stream.
Yeah,
Oh
Oh
my
man.
God, Quell,
it's one of those stories
you'll
where if I
you'll
was
pee
run up to
yourself.
Quadon's now, he would probably like go. Like if I reminded him that happened, if he didn't forget or bury it in his
He would
mind,
not
he
forget
would
that.
definitely.
That's not forgettable.
No
I'm
offense.
curious now.
I, yeah, he would never. Yeah, there's no way he forgot. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. There's
All
no
right,
way.
all right. So is that me? Did he throw it to me?
Oh yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say. Love you guys. Thanks for having me on. And yeah. Oh, actually, real quick, while I'm having a moment, Josh. How hard is the setup or doing like getting Phasmophobia? Like, how long did it take you to get that running?
Uh, did you add me on Steam yet?
I don't know if I added you on Steam yet.
I sent you a friend request. As soon as I stop streaming, if you just want to stay on the call, we'll go walk through. Erica's sitting there asking me like, "Is Ahmed gonna play Phasmophobia? Is Ahmed gonna play
I want to try
Phasmophobia?"
to play tonight if we can.
He wants to play tonight if we can. Yeah, she's fist pumping. Yes, let's go.
Let's go.
I can't wait because like she was talking to Quell about like trying to help trying to get him on PC with us on Steam, and oh my god, that's something that we could just stream and not even for anyone just because it'll be funny for us to go back and be like. It's, oh my god, you're I think you're gonna have a blast. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait for Quell to at least I just want to see Quell watch us play and then listen to him just haze us.
I'm on the way, dog.
I cannot wait, bro. I'm so
I'm
excited.
on the way.
Yeah.
All right.
That's gonna be my gift to you
Yeah.
when you're up and running. That's gonna be my gift. I cannot wait. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'm Quell. That's Quell. I got a last name, but I don't acknowledge it. It's whatever. You can find me on like pretty much any social media thing at Quell Just Left, all one word. including PlayStation, because that's my hang up right now. So PlayStation, everything, all that. Not Facebook,
PlayStation
Twitter.
Posse.
Yeah, Quell just left. I'm in a band. I do lead guitars. The band is Social Void. You can find us at Social Void or Social Void Band. I'm the black guy, and
You're the lead guitarist?
yeah,
They're
yeah, I
they're
do.
I didn't know you were the lead guitarist.
he
Now I'm fanboying on you. Holy shit!
listen.
You little Jimi Hendrix
This man is
shit.
talented. This man,
I
listen.
knew he was. I had a feeling, but I was like, damn, like the lead guitar. Okay,
So
okay,
Yeah,
Ahmed,
okay.
yeah.
Well,
I'll
we're gonna
send
let
you.
you. We're gonna let you continue. Let me brag on you,
I'm sorry.
Quell. Let me brag on you real quick, Ahmed.
Okay.
I told this man this, and he didn't really understand it nor appreciate it. But I can tell you, and you understand. Quell is literally the living embodiment of Bob from Tenjo Tenge.
Ah! Ah!
I'm talking the hair. I'm talking the rhythm. I'm talking his play style, his ability to feel your natural rhythm. Quell will counter hit you out of breathing. It's not supposed to be possible. Brian H could like whiff punish breathing. Quell will counter hit breathing, and you didn't even hit a button. Like your neutral stance, and it's like, and it's like, why'd that hit? And it's just like, because Quell was inside your rhythm. It's like, how? He's the lead guitarist for Social Void. Oh, he's talented, talented. Okay.
Yeah, I'll send y'all so after we just did our most recent show, a guy from the Mooks podcast, his name is David. He just put up a video like just like maybe 4 hours ago. I'll float that to both of y'all like via Facebook if you want to check it out. But
Yeah,
uh parting words, I would just say, yo, it's been an honor just being a part of this. I'm telling you, it speaks more volumes than anything that y'all have allowed me to drink from the well of knowledge that y'all have curated thus far. Like it's incredible, and I can just hope to be like a molecule of inspiration that y'all have given to me to other people in the coming years, man. I'm so stoked for the people that I can like impact from this shit. It's gonna be fucking rad, yo. Yeah, man.
love
That's
that
it.
energy.
That's
Great.
it. That's it.
I
Thanks.
just I listen. I love y'all's energy so much. I can't. I'm gonna have to see if we can get Evan on. He had to work today. He's so Black Friday is. Whew, but he's he had to hold it down though, and he had to do it despite COVID. All the COVID scares and all that going around. But I think I'm gonna see it. Next time I can get both of y'all. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm probably gonna ask for y'all to be on again within the next like 6 weeks at the absolute like maximum.
Just hit me up.
I love talking to y'all. Like I'm gonna give y'all at least a 3 week break. I might ask you back as soon as episode 4. I'm trying to do this every other week.
Yeah.
So if I skip the next one, because I think the next one will be. I'll have to look at the scheduling here. So what? We're gonna do this right now because I can. Because this is what I want to do. So I'm gonna do it. Uh,
Hey, hold on. While we got a break,
I
I
got
just
what do
one
you
want to
think?
say,
percent battery.
Oh, we
hold
about to
on.
finish.
Super quick. It won't take 2 seconds. I just gotta say this because it's gonna eat me up inside if I don't. Hi, Erica.
Quell says
And
hi,
then
Erica.
and that's it.
Hi, Quell.
Cool. All right. That's it.
So, if y'all are available January 9th, let's try and do this. I'm sorry, January 8th. Let's try and do this again January 8th. That way we get Christmas Day off.
All
January.
right.
That's Erica's birthday. We can't do it then. Sorry. I'm taking a break.
Just
January 22nd. January 22nd. Oh no, sorry.
January 30th.
January 7th is your birthday. It's gonna be Friday, so my mom's gonna take Memphis then, more than likely. So
We'll figure it out.
yeah, your birthday's on
We'll
Friday, baby. Yeah, turn up. All right. I love y'all. Ahmed, go to your computer right now so we can get you set up on Phasmophobia.
Yeah, I'll go right now, literally.
Quell,
Yep. Yep.
you and Social Void.
Yeah.
Anything else that we can do to support y'all musically?
Yeah, definitely send me those to
Share,
Facebook too.
share shit, and tell people.
I
Okay.
always just tag me. Just like
We'll
even
do.
just like when you share stuff, just at me. I'm on it. Listen,
We'll do.
Ivory Coast Tekken will tell you that I will support the shit out of you.
Okay. Yeah, man. We need it, and we love it, and we'll give the love right back, man. It's much appreciated.
Oh, there's nothing but love here. Don't even need it back. Just blessed to be able to experience y'all. Thank y'all so much. Hey, everybody. Hey, Jamie. Much love, Bubba. You make the best gumbo. I don't care what that crazy girl from high school or whatever class she was in says. Your gumbo is better. Dark gumbo just means that she spits in it. So.
You're.
Because
I love that
she probably,
bag.
cause mainly because she's just like it's dark. Because she probably chews tobacco, so I figure she spits in that instead of a Coke bottle or something. But either way, much love to y'all again. So much fun. I can't wait to talk to y'all. I'm gonna stop streaming here now.